All right. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. Really have enjoyed the last, honestly, few weeks of conversation, couple weeks of conversation. Appreciate all the comments. I will say today's stream, I think it's going to be a good one. I mean, it's always good, but I also think we need to lock in and focus on the fact that, and I think this is the hard part of being on the internet. As a community, like, we're not here to start beef. We're here to observe beef, We're not here to be the drama. We're here to observe the drama. But I do think that it's very tempting to want to be the drama because it pays. It pays your rent. And that's why I think a lot of these boys fight with each other on Twitter, because it pays. And also it obviously makes them famous. Okay. So like, it's one of those things where today you're going to see a clip of Hassan Piker. Hassan, Weasley little liar Piker. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But you're going to see a video of Hassan literally say to Ashley St. Clair, why does Elon even know who I am? I'm just a streamer. I'm just a little streamer. And I swear to God, if I see one more man who obviously is trying to be famous, pretend like, who, me? I'm just a guy. I'm just a baby. I'm gonna literally, like, you can't fall for this, okay? Listen to your big sibling, Brittany. You cannot fall for this rhetoric of people being like, I'm not even trying to get famous, but I'm gonna fight with all the famous boys on the internet. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Like, the way these people are like, why does he even know who I am? I don't know. Maybe because you tweet at him. I don't know. Maybe because you literally are trying to be famous. So like, it's just so silly. It's like they're playing right in your face, bro. Right in your face. And people are just like, you know what I mean? And this is how patriarchy always wins out, because men get to show up and use microphones and go like, I'm just a guy. I just organically got here. I just literally showed up and pressed play. And I just like, as if it wasn't strategic, as if you're not playing 4D chess, as if you're not being deliberate, as if, you know what I mean? This is why I say, like, healthy people don't exist on X. And so if your whole platform, your whole use of time on X is fighting with people on X, like, they're out here making fun of Elon for being on X all day, but like, that's why he knows who you are, because you're on X all day. Like, that's what you mean. You know why Elon Musk doesn't know who I am? Because I don't have an X account. You know what I mean? Do you know why? You know what I'm saying? Like, every time, and I did, when the reason I got off X was because I was being harassed and obviously just like completely just torn apart by men on X. But I deleted my account because I was like, why am I here? Why am I here? And people are like, don't delete your account, Brittany. Like, that's how you bring more people in. Yeah, but what kind of people are coming from X? Do you know what I mean? And you have to fight with people. You have to fight with people on X to basically be prominent. And I always thought people who made their full-time job, like fighting on X, like kind of pathetic. And also I kind of understand, like, we all have critical opinions about each other's work. But I just like, come on now, right? Chad says, I'm in a moral pickle because I like Brittany and Hassan. I'm pretty new to both communities. I mean, why not like both of us, right? Like, I like problematic creators too. You can like Hassan. He's just problematic. You know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to enjoy problematic creators. That's why I said about Trisha Paytas. Like, you're allowed to enjoy Trisha Paytas, but like, it's like, listen, at the end of the day, you have to make the decision about your own morals and ethics and how you want to exist in spaces. But just a reminder that I can't exist in Hassan's space because of my stances. Just understand that I don't have a place in that space because of the way the rules work in that social space. And to be fair, Hassan doesn't have a place in my community either, because he ignores the feelings of Black people, trans people, women. I mean, we just covered the N-word debacle the other 4 weeks ago with Zoran's wife, and him dismissing people's concerns over it because, quote, it's not that important right now. It's like, yeah, he can't come here either. He can't hang out in this space either. Because how am I going to bring this man into my space with these people? And this is why FD says none of the white people are invited to the cookout, even Hassan, because you guys, not you guys, my audience, Hassan's fans think he's cool. He can't come. I can't come either, but like you definitely can't come. And it's like you're not even trying. You're not even trying. So it's like it's one of those things where, you know, he has this attitude where he literally thinks he's the guy, but then goes, I'm not the guy, I'm just a guy. So what are you? Are you the guy or are you not the guy? It's like, again, we'll get into it. Don't worry, I have receipts. Okay. With that said, I'm not a Hassan hater, meaning my criticism of Hassan is reasonable. And discounting my criticism of Hassan because I'm a woman, bad. Femme, bad. Trans, bad. Cis, bad. Women, whatever, queer, bad. But also because I'm not popular, bad. But also, and worse, because you think I'm like one of his other haters who are just also shitty men. That's the thing. His hater brigades are done by really shitty men. That's not what we're doing here. So yesterday in chat, there was a commenter I was going back and forth with in super good faith, probably a mistake, because they were really upset about Hassan's, quote, dog abuse. And I keep getting these comments about Hassan's dog abuse. The reason I usually block those comments generally is because they're usually wrong, like incorrect information. My criticism of Hassan is sound and reasonable. It is not taking things out of context, and it's well within the realm of like good commentary. The people in my comment sections, though, that are like, Hassan pulled his dog's tail. I've seen the video. It's a bad video, but to call it abuse is, it's not contextually within reason. And I say this as a person who worked at a vet. You would be amazed at how many people pull their animals' tails thinking it doesn't hurt them. The same way guys fish on the side of piers, they catch fish and put it back in the ocean. You are putting a hook through the cheek of a fish and then going like, oh, it doesn't hurt them. Catch and release is the most normalized form of animal abuse, other than eating meat, of course. Okay? So when we have conversations, I think there's like a little bit of you're going after Hassan in a way that I feel like is dishonest. So I'm going to show you the video, and I don't even feel like I have to trigger warn you for it, because I just don't think it's dog abuse. I do think it's wrong and inappropriate. And if I saw anybody in my family do this, I'd be like, hey, don't pull on their tail. How would you like it if I pulled on your tail? Right? But to say that it's dog abuse is a very interesting, and then to write Hassan off forever because of this video is very interesting. Now, if Hassan pulled his dog's tail time and time again, had a pattern of abuse, we could have a conversation. And no, he did not zap Kaya. And also shock collars, very normalized in Bubbles. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Wired fences, shock fences. Like, we have to understand that animal ownership is also tied to patriarchy. I own you. I'm entitled to your life. I'm entitled to your body. I'm entitled to your flesh. So, of course, Hassan, who's still deconstructing and obviously hasn't really done enough work, in my opinion, to deconstruct patriarchy, is going to engage in dog companionship or animal companionship in a way that reflects that. And yeah, there's a lot there that we need to work on, for sure. I'm going to show you the video, though. You tell me if you think it's animal abuse, so much so that I should let people in my comment sections rant about how abusive Hassan is to his dog, because I swear to God, any bad faith comments about this will be deleted and you will be blocked. Okay? And Chad says normalize doesn't mean good or fine. It doesn't mean good or fine, but it also means you need to slow down when you correct people's behavior and accurately see it for what it is and bring your commentary forward. Okay? Of course, normal isn't healthy. The world is an incredibly unhealthy place. It's also normal to commit genocide, but we're obviously against that. But it's actually pretty normal under patriarchy. So I'm not saying it's good because it's normal. I'm saying you're acting like, the comments are acting like this is the most horrendous thing Hassan has ever done. Did we watch the video?
Come here. Hey. Motherfucker, come here. Stay. No, come here.
Okay, that's the clip, right?
Come here.
It's not good. You shouldn't pull on your animals' tails. You know, that's stupid. Don't do that.
Hey.
Animal abuse, you need to relax.
Come here. Stay.
Okay, it sucks. I hate it. I don't like it either. I think it really, like, it must hurt to have your tail pulled on. Okay? Don't do that. But to say, like, this is abuse, this is the worst thing. Like, oh my God. And I'm saying, don't pull on your animal's tails. I know you think it doesn't hurt them, but it does. And I know you think like catch and release is fine, but you're literally just hurting fish for fun. Like that's your hobby. Okay. So there is no pattern of abuse. There is no pattern of inflicting pain. There is a very common misconception being played out here in which people literally think, do you know how long people thought fish do not feel pain at all? Do you know how long we were indoctrinated to think that? Okay. So I'm saying don't do that. Okay. Right? Don't do that. Okay. Chet says, how else do we call hurting your animal pet? He didn't. Okay. You call it that. You say, oh, I think you're hurting him. And if he goes, no, I'm not hurting him, and he does it over and over again, and he does it every time the dog is around him, then you call it abuse. You say, oh, hey, I think you're hurting the dog. Okay, that's what you do. You correct people. Like, remember when Hassan had Kaya and her, what's her name? I can't think of the name of their podcast right now. But she was like, oh, hey, is his collar good? Like she was, or is Kaya's a girl, but is her collar good? That's how you do it. You're like, oh, hey, is her collar too tight? Oh, hey, is this too tight? Do you know what I mean? So you don't go straight to, oh my God, this is abuse. Like, look, throughout life, we will hurt each other. Like you will hurt somebody, right? Jennifer, thank you. Jennifer was on the podcast and Jennifer just like very calmly explained it. And that's all you do. I'm saying, you know what I mean? But like there is a lot of abuse that you can point out in people's behavior. I just don't think this is a pattern of abuse. You know, and that's what you're looking for when you call abusers abusers. It's a pattern of consistent target. It's a no, like not, this is, you know, for kids who are hit by their parents, this is the struggle we have where people are like, you're abusive and you'll never be forgiven. Okay, relax. I'm allowed to forgive my parents for hitting me. As long as they acknowledge the pain they did, we can all move on from this, because a lot of us who were spanked or hit by our parents weren't beaten by our parents black and blue and left for dead. A lot of us were spanked in a way that they were traditionally taught. It's not good. It is a form of abuse if neglected and denied. So I could tell my parents, hey, when you used to beat us as kids or spank us or hit us, like that is abusive to your children. I'm not calling you an abuser. I'm saying the actions you took are abusive or toxic or dangerous or inappropriate or hurt me. And I'm not calling you an abuser because I don't think you were abusive in that way, but I think hitting your kids is abusive. This is the nuance that we need when we're looking for people who change, getting better, you know, and it's hard too because like there is... we're animals and animals hurt each other. We are animals and we hurt people. If you want to take away any suffering that caused by humans, you'd have to eradicate human beings. So you can't sit here and say, oh, this video is proof that Hassan abuses animals. This is not proof he abuses animals. This is proof, like many dog owners, that people don't recognize that sentient beings are in their care and need extra consideration because they can't communicate in the same way that we communicate, right? Okay, so when we have these conversations, you know, there's even in the conservative bubbles I grew up in, there was always a conversation about whether or not taking your dog to a vet is abuse or not, you know? So when we talk about abuse, you can discuss it in your own terms. When I talk about abuse, I'm looking for some sort of like long-term pattern, not a one-time off. You know, if it's one time, but it's like severe, we can talk about abuse because you can abuse in but it's never one time. Abuse is never just one moment. Usually abusers have a pattern, have done it more than once, right? Chad says we are establishing an abuse pattern, right? Could someone call it an abuse action though? But what if Hassan didn't have an intention to hurt Kaya? Then is it even abuse action? I think you can abuse people without intention. I think the issue is that when you're told by the person that like, hey, that really like feels bad, don't do that. And you go, I don't care. And you keep doing it. Like at some point it's abuse, but not really. Like as kids, I would fight with my siblings. Like we would be like this and my sibling would be like, don't touch me. And I'd be like, oh, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm not being abusive. But there is a pattern of it is toxic. And it was a pattern of being brought up in the family that we did. I wouldn't call it abusive. I'd be like, you're such a fucking asshole, bro. And then as we got older and learned to regulate our emotions because we were children, we learned, oh yeah, you respect people's consent, right? And so I do think there's like a lot of context here that plays into this bubble. So when you get in my comments and you're like, Hassan's an abuser and I'm never going to trust him and he's all these things, you are muddying the waters. I think of this community. You might match up better in an XQC community or a Destiny community if that's your take. But in this community, we are understanding that human beings suck. So we're starting on a premise that we suck. All of you, even you. Person who was passionately upset about Hassan, you also suck. So the question is, in which ways have you also pulled on a dog's tail and have you held yourself accountable for it? Right? Because listen, I've never pulled on a dog's tail, but I'm sure I've done a ton of things I can think of that I'm like, it's kind of adjacent, because we are doing those things. And I'm saying this, out of all the things to be mad at Hassan for, is not it. This is something you go, don't do that. Even people who love their animals don't recognize the pain and suffering this animal endures. And by the way, if I was a vegan person, I would say, what do you care about a dog tail when you're eating animals? Because the amount of abuse that happens to those animals so you can have a burger is no fucking joke. So don't think your hands are clean because you're sitting here acting like I never pulled on a dog's tail. You ever stepped on your cat's toes? Every time I step on Indiana's toes, I feel like the worst person who ever existed. Okay, I'm not doing it on purpose, but damn, sometimes I feel so bad. You know what I mean? It's like pretty similar to me. Accidentally stepping on your cat because, you don't see her, or like pulling your dog's tail. Like you really don't, you have to be told. And so again, if Hassan was like kicking this dog, I don't know which dog this is, but if he was like kicking the dog and pulling her tail and shoving her, then I'd 100% be like, what is this? What is this? But it's not. It's like a 2-second moment.
Hey.
Where I don't like his language. I don't like his tonality, but he's a man and men suck,
Motherfucker, come here.
Motherfucker, come here. Yeah, like I don't like the boy, the man, the frat of it all. I don't like any of that. But I'm saying you can't look at this video alone and be like, oh my God, he's a dog abuser. Even shocking Kaya. Like, I would go so far as to say that, like, I would not call a person who uses a shock collar abusive necessarily. I would say, who told you that shocking your dog makes sense? Like, who told you that? And they'd be like, oh, I heard it from my vet. My vet told me to shock my dog. I'd be like, okay, get a new vet. And also, you don't need to shock your animals. There's vibration collars. There's other options. I remember because my dad got a shock collar. And I said, you can't shock our dog. That shit sucks. We did, though. We did put a shock collar on our dog, and I hated it. And I said, put it on me. I said, put it on me, put it on you, and tell you how you feel about it. And they justified it with, oh, well, they're not going to feel it the same way because of all their fur. Now, eventually, we got rid of it because I worked at a vet at the time, and I was very passionate about, like, do not do this to our dog. Because I worked at a vet, my parents trusted me. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying they bought an item that it was so normal in the bubble to be like, oh yeah, get a shock collar. That's how casual people have this conversation. And I'm saying it takes somebody who knows better to say, that's why we speak up, by the way. That's why I say things when I'm like, hey, don't do that. Because no one's probably ever told you. So I'll tell you, especially if you're white and you grew up in a white bubble, white people don't tell each other shit. They don't correct each other. They don't say shit. And so that's why I'm like, hey, don't do that. So again, I see your passion for animals, but and I think this goes back to why when Hassan allegedly shocked Kaya, which I do not believe, right? But I don't believe he did. Believe is not knowing. Believe is just like, I don't have the evidence, right? Elle made that whole stream and people were so mad at her because she was like making the vegan argument of, if watching Kaya get shocked makes you so upset, then you should definitely stop eating meat because you're doing far worse by eating a burger than someone is by shocking their dog. Depending on how you make that justification. Let's say you shock a dog once a month for 50 years. Let's say you, I don't know how many shocks that is, but there's like, okay, hundreds of shocks. You could argue it is less worse than eating meat 3 meals a day. Okay? So again, criticize Hassan within your value structure, but understand that I'm not going to agree with you that Hassan is clearly a dog abuser because I don't have the evidence. And I don't think you do either. Okay? Chad said 50 years, old ass dog, 365 times. Thank you. It's like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like you have to weigh the pros and cons. And that's why I say be less bad every day. Don't try to be a good person. You're failing. Be less bad every day. Okay? That's it. So again, for all the people who are arguing about this dog video, I watched it. You watched it. You can, you know what I mean? You can make that decision about how you feel about it. Okay? Again, this is why I've gone plant-based, because I'm like, why am I causing unnecessary suffering to living sentient creatures? That's unnecessary. That's why I don't eat animals anymore. Okay? And I hope it lasts for my lifetime. I hope I get to do that for the rest of my life, right? You don't have to do that. And I do think, though, you should be very concerned that you are more upset about this video than the fact that people are eating meat. I just feel like it doesn't make sense. Like, it's irrational and unsafe to have this reaction over this video compared to the reality of what we're facing. Both are bad, but they're not even close on a spectrum. So no, I don't think this is abuse. Okay. All right, let's transition to a cute video before we really get into things today. I saw this video and I was like, okay, I'm gonna cry.
I really like Mamdani.
It says Muslim children talk about Mamdani. Basically, we are not terrorists, we're normal people.
I really like Mamdani being mayor because having a Muslim mayor, I feel like it connects me deeper to the city of New York.
And as New York City's first Muslim mayor.
There's feelings about the Muslim community that he could help change, because some people view Muslims as bad people.
It's show the Islamophobics what Muslims can do, how smart they are and how bright they are.
What do you think people think about Muslims that you think needs to be corrected?
They think that Muslims are like rude and terrorists, but that's not true. We're just normal people like the rest of them.
Our city, we don't have a lot of the Muslim be the mayor. We only have Christian be the president instead of Muslims. So it feels great.
I'm kind of like proud that New York City is like rising up. Like if we can pick our first Muslim mayor, people would be more accepting for Muslim people.
There's a lot of people. You think it would be loud, but it felt like quiet, like a little calm, focusing on the prayer.
I could say, I've prayed with the mayor of New York City before.
Makes us feel like we welcome in the city of New York.
Isn't that the cutest video you've ever seen? Oh, so cute. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I am so glad that came on my feed this morning. Oh, how cute is that? Representation really fucking matters, bros. It just, you know what I mean? It just like makes such a difference. And I'm so like sensitive to children having representation as a queer kid who grew up without a lot of it. And it's just so nice to see other kids, you know, see themselves and their leaders and the adults in the room. And that's why I say, like, at the end of the day, like, kids are watching us, you know, like, children are looking at us. They do care. As much as people say, like, oh, let kids be kids, like, kids are thinking about politics. Kids are thinking about their place in the universe. And kids need to see themselves represented in media and in adults. They need to see that they can amount to so many good things. And so I just think that's really beautiful. Now let's watch two rich men be misogynistic. Okay, you ready? Lock in. So yesterday on stream before I headed out, somebody said, hey, watch the Stabby Baby and Hassan. They were very misogynistic towards Ashley and women in general. And I was like, oh no, what's this? So I found it. Let's watch this clip. It's about 20 minutes. There's a lot to go over, but let's watch it. Remember, this is the 2026 judgment criticism, okay? So there's a pattern, right? So when we talk about building a pattern, that's what we're talking about. So now Hassan has a pattern of years on end engaging in misogyny, and he hasn't gotten that much better. And so I think that's the problem we're having is, like, when we judge people, we're saying we're not judging you as a consciousness. We're not God, and I don't believe in God. We're judging your actions in terms of how we should interact with you. And we wonder how the world is the way it is, how Trump becomes president. It's because when two men sit in a room together, their natural inclination, because of the way they've been raised through patriarchy, is just to move into misogyny without even thinking about it. And people pointed this out in my chat, that foreign man from a foreign land. Foreign was talking about this, how when men come together, it just like it naturally just like the way they talk about, you know, the women in their lives. Or I was even watching the Red Flag podcast, and same thing. It's like when men will tell us, oh yeah, when we get together, like the amount of words that come out of our mouth. And so that's why I say to you, like, Hassan is still a man. Hassan is still a man, you know, and I love to see gay men call each other out about their misogyny. I love to see that. Cis men, straight men, I love to see this too. But Hassan is still a man. So, you know, just as femme presenting, especially queer, gender fluid people, I think we have a right to be very frustrated with the way that this guy, again, is the guy. Now, I want to say this again before we get into it, because I think it's important. I'm not saying Hassan shouldn't be there, though I think in an ideal world he wouldn't, because his mouth is, you know what I mean? But I think that the fact that he is the guy and then pretends like, I don't know how I'm the guy. I don't understand why people like, I'm just a streamer. He's basically a celebrity. I don't think he's what I would call an activist in the way that I think is like organic and true, because he is basically moving like a celebrity would. And, you know, okay, Stavi is a comedian, so just keep that in mind. The banter is going to be very comedian, and you know how misogynistic comedians are. So just, okay.
Also, I wanted to show you here additional proof as to why I deserve everything that's coming for me.
Please.
Chatters want you to see this. This is Elon Musk's baby mama who's sitting on that chair that you were sitting at a couple days prior.
Could you ask her to describe Elon Musk's penis while she was in this chair?
I didn't get to it because I brought up...
No journalistic integrity whatsoever.
No, but I did.
No journalistic integrity.
I did broach the subject. I asked her straight up to her face, I said, did Elon Musk mail you his cum in a napkin?
Yeah.
Which is like the first way to broach the subject. And she
that's you lightly opening up the discussion?
Yes. And then after that, I was like, look, because I thought I was being kind. I was like, which is worse? He mailed the cum to you or you?
Yeah.
And I did present that, and she didn't like that either.
Well, so you gotta push back, dude.
Yeah.
What's going on with these suits? If you want to dress like this, you gotta be you want to be Geraldo Rivera.
I'll show you the napkin clip in a second when we go for the second part of stream, which is going to be about Ashley St. Clair, and like, how do you know if a person has changed? I don't think she's really changed enough to be promoting her, which is why my criticism of Hassan for platforming her stays true. That doesn't mean there isn't an intersectionality observation to be made here about when men talk about women and they're in positions of power, because they are. And then Ashley being judged. Like, I always want to take Ashley St. Clair and bring her to Boa's Island and have all the women sit her down and be like, Ashley, right? But then you bring in the men, and I don't think men honestly have a place to talk about Ashley St. Clair's like redemption arc. Like, this isn't about you, because every time you talk about her in a very particular way, which means like you definitely don't have a place to talk about redemption. You're still working on your misogyny.
Dude, you got to be Geraldo and ask the tough questions.
Yeah, this is true.
The only good journalist I can think of.
Yeah.
I need to know. What does his penis look like? Yeah. How hard? He probably can't get hard.
Like, not fully hard. He's on too much ketamine.
He probably has some kind of pump on his dick. If I had to guess, he's probably got a... Yeah. And this is all stuff I would have gotten to the bottom of, folks. And when Hassan's in prison and I am the #1 political streamer, this is the kind of streams I'm going to give you guys.
Yeah.
I'm only about that.
Yeah, once I'm gone. Well, you have a Hollywood.
You're right. You're right. Actually, what am I even doing, dude?
You have to do this fucking bullshit.
The fact that I lowered myself to be on this internet stream, the words taste bad even coming out of my mouth.
I got the Patrick Bet David value team sitting in the cup chair for the...
Oh shit, PBD covered this shit, bro.
Look at his face. He's like, well, okay, let's pull this up.
Older video or newer video? Fortunately, this is new.
Unfortunately, these guys are sad.
Oh,
this is so fucking funny.
I don't think you should disrespect Elon Musk. He's
what
brilliant.
What is this fucking guy's deal? I can't tell what the fuck it is.
He's the best. I love him so much.
Every clip is like, every time I randomly see him pop up, like, I mean, obviously he seems to be, you know, weirdly conservative, obviously, but it's just like, what is his vibe?
He's Florida. He's Florida. Through and through.
Yeah. He's like, where's he from? Was he Persian?
Yes, you nailed it. Wow.
Persian,
he's not Israeli, contrary to Patrick Bet David being his name. He is, I think, Assyrian and Armenian of Iranian.
Assyrians mentioned. Guys, this whole segment is really just for me as an Assyrian girly through and through. This part's just for me. Because if Anthony from Do Not Worry Podcast is my cousin, Patrick Bet David is our fallen cousin. He's like, we might all be Assyrian, but...
Descent.
Assyrian.
Yeah.
They love that. Assyrians love claiming that shit. That's a fucking... Anyway, whatever.
I can't get into it. You're Greek. They're your brothers.
They claim to be.
Yeah, okay. Assyrians are your fucking brothers in withstanding unjustifiable Turkish violence.
Everyone's trying to copy off Greek people by keeping the same...
beef?
By being ancient and the same. These motherfuckers, you're Iraqi. That's what the fuck a Syrian
That's
is.
true.
Damn.
Right? Isn't that from? Isn't that where it's
True.
from?
I
That's
I
every
thought
time-
it was from Syria.
Every time, no.
Why is
You
it a
think I'm just
different
saying
name?
Syrian?
Why is it a different
That shit's,
name?
it's like when Albanians will tell you they're Illyrian. It's like, you're fucking Albanian, bro.
Or Lebanese people say Phoenician.
Yeah, shit, exactly. It's that
No,
same bullshit.
no,
Only
brother,
we're allowed
I-
to claim our fucking
Yeah,
antiquity.
I'm Phoenician, brother. You don't understand.
Yeah,
I'm not
get the
like
fuck outta
I'm
here.
not like the dirty Muslim.
yeah, that's
Lebanese.
always what it is.
No, wait. Chad says, I always imagined your dad like Patrick low-key. Honestly, one time I told my dad, I was like, do you watch Patrick Bet David? My dad's like, no, I don't like him. And I was like, see? You don't like these scummy men. And he was like, I was like, I watch him just so I'm up to date with what these MLMers are doing. He goes, no, I don't like him. And I go, see? My dad knows these men are scummy. He knows, but then he votes Trump. It's confusing.
It's
Yeah.
always guys from the Middle East who are like, well, I'm not fucking Muslim.
Oh shit, Iraq and Syria. Turns out.
Okay,
yeah,
we're both
I mean, you're
right.
not wrong. Okay, all right. But yeah, let's see what the I'm a numbers guy had to say about this. Okay.
he a numbers
Wait, what is this
He
about?
says, I'm a numbers guy. Let's grok it. Let's chat GPT it. Dude, that's my favorite genre of commentary people that just sit there and go, all right, let's ask Grok what
It's
this
crazy,
is.
dude.
It's like, bro, you're an adult.
How
You've
quickly-
scammed people successfully. Like
Yeah.
you ran a fucking successful multi-level marketing operation.
Oh, really? He's an
And-
MLM guy?
Yeah, of course he's an
What was he
MLM
selling?
guy.
Like real estate? Like
I don't even fucking know.
I bet you seminars of some kind, right?
Yeah, well, he
Must
still
have
does
been.
the seminars. I think it's like for 1 hour with Patrick Bet David, you is a $50,000.
That's awesome.
All right,
Worth every fucking penny.
but it's
What are
like,
they mad about? They're mad that you were hanging out with what's her face?
Ashley St. Clair.
But she's dumb though, right? Like she was a grifter who fucked Elon Musk.
I mean,
like,
or brilliant. you
I mean,
know?
I guess.
Okay, so I'll just know because chat said earlier, like, damn, she brought him gifts. Like, that would hurt my feelings. So here's Ashley. Like, look, I'm going to bring the heat in for Ashley, second part of stream. Okay, second part of stream, I'm going to have heat for Ashley. But in this context of watching two men in a position of, honestly, like, Hassan is in a position of more power than Ashley, right? Okay, definitely, okay, depending on the intersection we're talking about, but just focus. So then Stravo goes, oh, she's like dumb though, right? And Hassan's like, or a genius. And he just had her on. You remember how I told you, why is Hassan platforming this woman? Humiliation. These men want to humiliate women. They do. Hassan, this is his misogyny. You bring on a vulnerable woman who right now is fighting a lawsuit against Elon for basically nudes made of her through Grok. The mother of his child fighting for custody. Okay. And from that perspective, why are you then bringing her on to then talk to your boys after on a stream and talk about how stupid she is? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I say they want to bring her on to humiliate her. And so I don't like it. Okay, now again, I will have heat for Ashley in the second half of this. But for the first half of this, these boys are showing, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're gross. They're gross, and you should know that. And that's why I'm saying you should not trust Hassan. Women should not trust Hassan. Politicians can have their business with him. Again, I will always hold people who hate Hassan also accountable for the way they blindly hate him. But as women, I don't know why you feel safe with this man. And I think Ashley's falling for it too. You should see her TikTok she's made. We'll cover them. Okay? Because Hassan is Hassan. People just, and this is the play of pretty privilege, people think you're a good person because you're attractive. Like, listen to his words. Listen to the way he acts.
As a finesse lord.
She put that shit to work. Yeah.
As a finesse lord.
She's giving him. You got me a hoodie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what is she
Down
up
here?
I think this is what he's
Are they together? Oh God, what an item. That's gonna be.
It's like a turned.
So she's basically
She's
like
woke now.
She's basically like doing Tucker's thing, but with by
Oh
being
no,
a
but
hot
she's
girl.
going the distance. She's going to distance. Like Tucker still for like every Israel is actually kind of woke and gay. What's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on?
yeah, yeah.
For every like 3 videos on that, he'll always have like some ancient like 87-year-old racist to be like, and white people are being genocided in America.
Right. But still, dude, you got to like. That's how fucked we are. Is that Tucker just kind of dipping his toes into like.
Yeah.
That's the scariest shit of all time. Is when a Republican just decides to say, give them health care, but let us lock up whoever we want. That's gonna work unless the fucking Democrats.
Bro, that's what Trump did in 2016 when he was like, I transgender people, I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe that like you could be such a heterodox thinker.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was, and it fucking.
But anyway,
worked.
this woman, I would be shocked if she's not playing an angle, right?
Hold on, pause. Chad says he seems to be vouching for her. Seems to be is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. He isn't. He's doing just enough, but it doesn't matter. He's already engaged. He already went there. The moment he called her dumb, he should have been like, whoa, don't call her dumb. Hold on. Don't talk to her. Don't talk about her that way. You know, like she's already getting so much flack as it is. Like we should definitely hold her accountable, but like don't call her dumb. You know what I mean? Too late. He's already engaged in the conversation. It's too late. We've already done the stupid laugh. She's so stupid. You know what I mean? It's too late. That's what I'm saying. Like, how are we supposed to come back from this?
You think she in her soul?
I suspect. I want to believe that.
You want to believe?
I want to believe that she's woke. I want to believe.
You're pathetic. This is how you're gonna end up in jail.
Look. He's laughing. He's doing the, come on, dude. I want to believe it. I want to believe it. He's insinuating. This is guy talk. Trust me. As a man, I'm telling you right now. He is playing into the bro frat. Trust me, dude. She's fucking hot. I want to believe she's right. Look at the way Starvos. He picks that up, and then he's going to make a sexual joke about her because that's the point, right?
I want to believe that.
You want to believe?
I want to believe that she's woke. I want to believe.
Look at
You're pathetic. This is how you're.
You're pathetic, bro, because she's a girl, bro.
You're gonna end up in jail, bro. She's gonna be like, so tell me, Hassan, about all that cool stuff you were doing in Cuba. She's gonna have to fucking.
Yeah.
I'm over it. See? See?
She's gonna be like, so tell me, Hassan, about all that cool stuff you were doing in Cuba. She's gonna have the fucking. She's gonna have the wire in her pussy.
Bro, that's so funny. That's what people are reclaiming because the subpoena came right after. The subpoena came right after she was here.
Hey, talk into my pussy about what kind of illegal stuff you did in Cuba.
Oh my god, it's crazy. I disavow this.
This is gonna be.
I think she.
Chad says Hassan seems maybe uncomfy. Don't give him that. Don't. He's 34 years old. He's a fucking man. Don't give him any fucking leeway in this regard. You don't have to. It's a consistent pattern. You know what I mean? Like, we have a pattern of misogyny throughout his career. He has not gotten better. He did not shut down the joke day one. He let it happen. He continued allowing Starvo to make the joke. It's misogyny.
Change.
I hope so, and it is funny that you talking shit about Elon, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna.
You ready?
Of course.
Is he
Are you
straight
ready,
though?
chat?
And she's a piece of ass.
I'm not gonna see it first. Chad's gonna see it before I do.
I've been sent by Benjamin Netanyahu to get his Twitter.
You're
What is the? I still don't get the shit. Help me understand what this means.
Yeah, Adam. What does that even?
I forgot he was in here. He doesn't know what it means. Help me understand what this means. Is Elon being disrespected by a woman as a child with it? It just doesn't make sense.
What's going on here?
Let's grok it. And then Grok just makes child porn. Just does anime child porn. Was this what you wanted, Mr. Bet David?
Yeah. No, not.
You're asking me. I'm not the stepdad. I'm the dad that stepped up. So it's
Wow.
Clearly it's in reference to whatever beef she's going on with Elon and a lot of stepdaddy.
Why are
these guys
so
love
mad
Elon?
for another?
They love Elon, huh?
Dude, imagine.
so pathetic.
You can't dick eat this hard.
It's crazy. I know.
It's shameless. They're angry on behalf of Elon Musk.
Well, it's the. Also, what do they have? They have hats in the background.
Yeah, no, that's cool. They're hype.
Those
are all the ugly ass PVD merch. That's what it is.
He has that much merch?
Dude, he has so much merch.
I kind
own
of need some. I kind of need some.
Yeah. All right, let's see what
Daddy issues type of thing. I wish
daddy
Ashley
issues.
nothing but the best, but this is not the.
Well, you go, wish her all the best, but if she hasn't changed, is this like, what have you become? I remember
What
she's
have you
been on like,
become?
podcasts and talking.
She's just become
What does it say?
anti-man.
Angry
That's all it is.
patriot?
No, she's anti that. And, like you wanted to, like hooking up with Elon just to have a baby and thinking you're going to get a certain amount of money, and then you're not getting what you want, and you sell your. It's like,
Is she not getting paid though? Isn't
no,
Elon
she's
paying
getting
her?
paid. She's getting paid. The kid's getting.
Imagine not paying
turned
a
down
fucking.
a big-
No, not
Your
paying.
baby-
Look, this misogynist goes, oh, she's getting paid. The kid is getting so-and-so in child support, so she's not getting paid. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. I will have heat for Ashley in the second part of this stream. She's absolutely getting paid, except it's the liberals that are hosting her and letting her ride this train. So I absolutely have heat for this woman. But I will not allow these misogynists to use misogyny to discredit her. I will discredit her without misogyny because that's the point. That's the point. You did not need to go to this direction. She's a baby mama. She's sleeping around. She's having men's babies. Like, she's a gold digger. She's a whatever. And then Hassan to laugh about pussy jokes, to laugh about Starvos putting his breasts up against Hassan. Like, this is what I'm saying about leftist men. Like, he is not truly a progressive intersectional leftist. This is why I say these leftists that are obsessed with just being anti-capitalist don't ever have to work on their racism, their anti-blackness, their homophobia or transphobia or misogyny, because you guys let them get away with everything because capitalism bad. And I'm saying I'm a leftist. Yes, I'm an anti-capitalist. And intersectionality has to play a role in this, and you have to be mitigating your bigotry, and you have to be trying to be less bad every day. And these men get away with it time and time again. And what's worse is that everybody is eating it up because you guys aren't doing the work. And I know you're not doing the work, because if you were, the world couldn't look the way that it is. And I don't blame you. It's very hard to do the work. But this is the problem with this bubble. And that's why I'm so surprised. This is why the women in this bubble, by the way, have no chance of ever actually doing anything, because the men still have the largest microphones. That's why I moved away from politics, because in political bubbles, this is what ends up happening, right? So again, the reason I stay out of politics, but I talk about it here, like the reason I'm not trying to get in Hassan's good grace, the reason I'm not trying to collab with these people who are political, is because I know at the end of the day, I will have to be silenced. Minorities and marginalized people will have to take a step back. So these prominent people who appeal to the middle class or middle America people will get the largest microphone, because they are the most digestible to racists in middle America, right? And I'm saying it's not good for us. So I would love to see women and I would love to see Ashley and other people do the work to actually do right by the people they've hurt, and to move away from this bubble. Because as long as you're engaging in a primarily patriarchal bubble, you will engage in patriarchal rhetoric that at the end of the day will come at the expense of marginalized people. And so it is really bad. Now, I won't accuse Hassan of exploitation, but I will accuse Hassan again of platforming her to humiliate her. And then I will say that he says in the interview, I reached out to you. He says, the reason I reached out to you is, and that's the thing. That's the thing. And so again, I think Ashley is going to I think Hassan's going to hurt her. I think Hassan's going to do an Elon in a different kind of way. So Elon slid into her DMs, right? In a very particular kind of way. And now Hassan's doing the same thing. And I think it is still the same kind of objectification and abuse and using her as a prop to get what these men want, and then they throw her to the curb. Ashley said after she got pregnant, Elon right away started being mean to her, cruel. He changed on her, and that's typical of men raised under patriarchy. Hassan was so nice to her, was so, you're so cool, you platformed her, and then boom, threw her under the bus. Next stream, okay? And that's what I'm saying this pattern of abuse is, that I think is trained into little boys when they're young. Because at the end of the day, I do think these men think they're smarter. I think these men inherently think they're better. I think because he's rewarded socially, it also amplifies his belief of himself. And yes, I agree. And this is why I say to the women that are thirsting over Hassan, ladies, how do you not see what's happening? How do you not see it? And because patriarchy has blinded you once again. Patriarchy has impacted all of us. All of us are impacted by patriarchy, including the women that go, finally, a good guy. He's not a good guy. He is still a man who has not deconstructed patriarchy. Don't do this, okay?
When you're the wealthiest person.
We have so much
I
money
think
for
there's
nothing.
child support for sure, but like outside of the child support, there's also what do you call it? I think she brought up the fact that Elon Musk actually tried to pay her off with an NDA to give her 40 mil, and she said no.
Respect.
Which again,
I will give her respect for that, because honestly, you should take the lump sum and fucking retire.
Yeah, no,
but
get the fuck out
good for her.
Get the fuck out of Dodge.
Good for her. She wants to. She probably also likes the attention of getting to shit on him, which, you know, whatever it takes. Embarrassing Elon stories are so fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, I know. It actually had an unfortunate consequence for my favorite Twitter poster, Ian Miles Chong, another one of Elon's perennial dick riders. He made the mistake.
I thought that guy died or something.
No, that was just wishful thinking.
To be fair, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I don't really get on here.
So Elon Miles Chong, who might have to change his name after this just to get this back. Elon Musk is no longer following Ian Miles because he posted, Ashley St. Clair is now trying to smash Hassan Piker, third baby on the way, I guess.
Oh,
and Elon got so mad.
See, Ashley St. Clair is now trying to smash Hassan Piker, third baby on the way. The fact that Hassan doesn't say, hey, you shouldn't talk about women that way. Hey, Ashley St. Clair and I are not doing that. I don't want you to think about her that way. He doesn't. He plays into it. He plays into it. He likes it. He likes the idea that women want to fuck him. That's why when that drag queen, love her, went on the podcast, she was like, just for the record, I don't want to fuck Hassan. I know everybody else does, but I don't want to. And Hassan's like, okay. You know? And I'm sick of this being a running joke in a progressive leftist space. We are working. You know, and I know some people in my chat who are not in my audience were like, let people flirt. Like, people can flirt. Yes, people can flirt, but in an appropriate setting. If you're a jokey stream, I care less. But like, we're talking about, guys, these are all people connected, or the White House knows about them. These are political people. Like, these are people who have too serious of a position for them to be fucking, you know what I'm saying? Not paying attention. They have influence. So again, like when we have these conversations, right? Cap, thank you for joining memberships. Appreciate you. Or Kapaf. Thank you for joining memberships. You said you speak the truth. It's refreshing to watch you. Thanks for all you do. And look, if I get something wrong, tell me. Right? If I get something wrong, tell me. And that's it. And then we'll go from there. So again, I understand that I also, I love a good flirt game. Okay. I'm a queer person. We're the best at flirting. That doesn't mean that these men are safe to flirt with. And that's what you have to realize. You realize it the hard way. And I'm saying to Ashley and to every woman in this space, you can't trust these men. Hassan is not a safe man. He's literally displaying it right now in real time. Current day Hassan. Do not trust him. He will throw you under the bus. You are just a prop to him. That's it. And that's what I'm saying about all of these men in this space. Because girlies, I get it. You want to safely flirt, have fun, feel like pretty. Not with this man, not with these men, not with these men in these political bubbles. And Ashley should know she dated 2 prominent conservative men who both fucked her over. So you know what I'm saying? Like, girly, just because he's left wing doesn't mean he's going to be safer. It doesn't. Now, if he was truly a leftist, truly a progressive, truly embodying anti-misogyny, he would be safer, but he's not. So.
He unfollowed him.
How the fuck? Wait a second. Elon Musk tracks that kind of shit? That's crazy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
He unfollowed him? That's so pathetic.
It's so
Dude, what the
funny.
fuck is the point of having that much money? These guys suck so much dick, it's
I
crazy.
know. Well,
just go fucking, go to a,
island,
but everyone's of age.
Not on some Epstein
Everyone's
shit.
of age.
Not on some Epstein shit.
Go to a MILF island.
Yeah,
I've pitched this before. If I have $1 million, you're catching me on MILF island.
Dude, you could get
all right? That's all I'm doing.
You could get your dick sucked sideways.
It'd be great.
Literally all the time.
Have pina coladas all fucking day. You could create anything you wanted. It could be awesome.
He literally could do that. He could genuinely do that.
It's pathetic. Go have an awesome time, but these guys don't know how to. They don't actually.
Why would that be good though? You see how Hassan plays into go make an island full of girls so they can suck your dick? How is that not misogynistic? How is that not giving straight into patriarchy?
Ever feel good? They don't know what feeling good is. They just know fucking winning and competing and thinking of happiness as a zero-sum game they have to take from other people. Not me. I get that much money. I'm creating happiness.
One of the questions I asked her was does Elon Musk want to be loved by so many people? Because he strikes me as the kind of guy who's very desperate for approval from people that he
would know. Hassan would know. Someone said Hassan's he's not a former fat kid. He's still that fat kid because he's never gone to therapy. Hassan still suffers from wanting to be loved, seen as good. He hasn't gone to therapy. He's openly said that. Okay. And there's no way he's done the work to fight his fat phobia, to fight the way he looks, to deal with it. So all of his validation seeking behavior comes from. So he gets it from the guys. Damn, Hassan, everybody wants to fuck you. Dab, dab, dab. And then he gets it from the girls oh my God, he's so daddy. And then and it plays into, I don't have to go to therapy. Look, people love me. I don't have to work on myself. Look, people love me. And I'm saying, damn, bro, this is why the world is the way that it is. And look, again, all those Hassan haters on the internet, that's not what we're doing here. We're serious. This is a very serious commentary on the continuous pattern of patriarchal abuse that comes in the form of even those on the left. Now, I've made a video about this, and I do really believe conservatives and Republicans have more predators on their side. But men who say they're left, who have not deconstructed, are even more of a threat in bigger ways because we don't see it coming. So then we as girls give them all the benefit of the doubt because we go, okay, but he's pro-trans and he's pro-gay and he's pro-abortion. And then when we find out they're serial cheaters, liars, abusers, we're like, oh my God, wait, what's happening? And it's because we have to understand that unless it's embodied, it's just something they say. It's basically a lie. And I'm saying it has to be more embodied. And Hassan hasn't done that yet.
That don't respect him.
It's such clear, rich, strict dad bullshit.
Yeah.
It's the most hack. Even his pathologies are hack.
Yeah.
It's fucking oh, look at me, papa. And it is that shit of wanting to be funny.
Oh, this was awesome. Did you see the top minds of our administration?
I haven't
at work. Okay,
I've been kind of busy. I broke my arm. I'm working on a movie right now, so I'm not really keeping up with all this
deal,
stuff.
Just regular famous guy shit.
Yeah, just regular actor
Hollywood
stuff.
Halkias. Okay, well, take a look at. Yeah, I think we're getting botted right now. Holy shit, we have 61,000 viewers.
What is that? What getting botted?
Normally we're at 36. So someone is view botting the stream.
Oh, okay. To what? To get you kicked off or something?
Yeah, to try to get me fucking in trouble. But I don't think.
I think that's all I wanted to show you from this clip. And I'll just say, Chen says he hasn't gone to therapy and he doesn't appear to engage in art. You need at least one. The man doesn't listen to music and he doesn't go to therapy. Like, psychopath. No, but seriously, please be careful. Girls, please, I'm begging you to be careful. Femmes, gay men that just throw themselves at Hassan's feet, please be careful. I'm begging you with every fiber of my 37-year-old body, please be careful around these men, because as much as they're doing some good, it doesn't eradicate the bad that they're doing. And there is a lot of men who do a lot of good things in order to get away with doing a lot of bad things. And every day that goes by, Hassan is falling into this trap, right? If you work 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, at least probably 10 hours a day, right? When does he have time to cool down, to rest, to be anti-capitalist, to read a book, to spend time with family, to go to therapy, to meditate, to work on himself, to make sure that he's not falling into these political traps, to make sure he's actually deconstructing? Like, the man is a walking red flag, and walking red flags do good things, because human beings, there can be good people who do bad things and bad people who do good things, right? Epstein's a great example. He was a bad person who did good things. You remember, he used it to justify his abuse. He said, well, you know, I put money towards vaccines and I put money towards things. So what does it matter? It does matter. Just because bad people do good things doesn't mean we eradicate it. Just because you're a good person who does bad things doesn't mean, you know what I mean? So Hassan is, I think, a goodish enough philosophical person that's doing a lot of bad things. But if we find out there's more under the surface of what he is doing, then we would just be like bad person who does good things, right? But for now, he probably is a good person who's doing bad things. But even the people he hangs around and the people he hangs around with, again, now, and I don't know if this is true because I haven't seen a clip, but if anyone has any clips on this, I want to know. Someone said they saw Hassan say that when he watched Entourage, that's who he wanted to be. And I was like, that makes so much sense. When I was younger, I wanted to be Samantha Jones, which I think also makes sense. But I'm an anti-capitalist now, so I can't be Samantha Jones. But if Hassan, if that is true, and Hassan really grew up thinking, I want to be like the Entourage guys, then this whole clip makes total fucking sense. Again, just something that I saw on TikTok that I thought was kind of, you know, again, who are you in the story? What do I say about being a whole human being? Know who you want to be in the story. And yeah, well, there you go. Okay. Whoa, actually, wait, hold on. Should we try to find it? Let me, I don't know where it would even be. Where would this, how would I even find this clip? It's such a random clip. Hassan saying he wanted to be like Entourage guys. I don't even know how I would find that clip. There's no way I could find it. I just saw a TikTok and I thought it was so fucking funny. It just says, you know what I mean? La la la. Yeah, there's no way I can find this clip. Man, I wish people who I wish that TikTok I saw had a stitch so I could have seen it. But if it's true, that is so funny. Hold on. La 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 la. Yeah, I don't see it.
What's the deal with the new look? Is this a permanent thing?
I've gotten positive feedback in
Really?
this. Yes. People come into my chat now and they're like, dude, at first I didn't like the suits because I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is not you. But then my mom saw your Fox News.
No. We've seen this. We've seen this. Yeah, I don't know. But I'll tell you this much. Yeah, I find it interesting. Hassan Piker crashes out after devastating video surfaces. God, Michael Knowles is so useless. Gross. Disgusting. Okay, now let's do this. Da 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 da. Right? Nobody's seen that clip? Let me see. How do I want to do this? Damn, this is a long thing. What's Cumtown? Why do you guys keep saying Cumtown in my chat? What is that? Was Starvos in a thing called Cumtown? Why is it even called Cumtown, brother? Brother, why is it even called I can't believe I'm about to Google Cumtown in my fucking... What is that? Nick Mullen? What is this? Look at the first thumbnail that shows up. Is this?
SI.com. Folks, you may have noticed that our reads are a lot of fun. We're going to be serious.
Yeah, that's Staros.
And dedicate this one to our good friend over at Pod Damn America who passed away. This advertisement.
Alrighty. Okay. I don't care about that. Okay, yeah, you guys said it is. It's how to get your video demonetized. LOL. Uh-oh. Are you saying they're gonna Oh, that felt so good. Oh my God, brother. Oh, I think I just cracked my whole upper back with that. Yeah, it just sounds like edgy podcast bro shit. All right. Well, hopefully, we can move on from that. This is a really long segment. Oh my God. How do I do this? Let's do this. Let's take a 2-minute break. We'll come back, refresh ourselves. Really helps to stretch my legs, and then we'll cover Ashley St. Clair, and I'll tell you why I don't think she's changed enough to be promoting her like this, but also. All right, I'm back. La, 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 la. Why is this happening? Let me see. La, 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 la. All right, pausing music in 1, 2, 3. La, 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 la. All right. So yesterday on stream, we talked about Ashley St. Clair and Hassan, and we talked about whether or not people can change. So this is a philosophy channel. We do philosophy through pop culture. And the thing I believe more than I believe anything else is that people can change, right? That doesn't mean that I believe she's changed. I believe she is changing and mid-transformation, like the Animorphs. She's like on the halfway mark of the book cover, but she hasn't like quite gotten there. And I do think people are rewarding her like she's gotten there. And I do think that's really dangerous because in your interpersonal lives, you've probably done this with an abuser, a brother, a parent, a friend, a non-abuser who just is like too toxic or their beliefs are too like, you know, where you, oh, they've changed. We had the conversation. I think they really heard me. And then they keep repeating patterns and you keep getting disappointed. Again, don't hold on to the attachment that people will change, but rather give them an opportunity to. And then it's up to them at the end of the day if they do. And change takes a long time. Do I believe some people can change overnight? 100%. Do I think that's Ashley St. Clair? Absolutely not. Now, some of you did mention that she was interviewed by Matt Bernstein, who I think that's how you say his name. And I did watch it this morning and I did highlight some points that I have saved because, you know, some people felt like, I really believe in her. I really think this is beautiful. And I think that's really great. I think you're optimistic and beautiful and lovely. I also think I have a feeling that you are not being as critical about her because you don't have to be. And I think that as a generational curse breaker, as the oldest daughter of an immigrant household, as somebody who is absolutely going to say, I've seen this before, I know what this is, figure it out, and I'll trust you when you can really understand what you've done. Also, I know it's going to take time. So I'm not throwing her away. I'm saying I'm open with boundaries. And the boundary is no platforming, no giving her credit before she's earned it, and listen to her when she tells you who they are. And so listen to anybody who tells you who they are. So in between the clips I will show you, I will also show you her recent or popular TikToks to kind of give you an idea of why I'm like, she's not there yet. Okay? She's not there yet. So let's go through it, including the sexist or misogynistic jokes Hassan made at her expense throughout their time together that we didn't have time to highlight yesterday, even though we did highlight some. Here's more of them. And examples of why this woman is once again being used. And so she comes from a bubble where people use each other. And so that's why I say the reason I don't do political stuff is because it's a bubble that abuses each other, that uses each other. Politics is all about using each other to get ahead. And Hassan is doing that as much as she is. But I think that's wrong. And that's why this bubble is bad for people. Okay, here's the first example. Here's the first timestamp.
That you were a whole ass nerd. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All of the Young Americans for Freedom guys are always so fucking nerdy, I feel like.
Well, I grew up with brothers too, so I just played video games. Like I would do LAN parties, like LAN parties, playing Age of Empires till like 2 a.m. So then I go to college, I'm like, oh, I'm cool, but also
you're the
nerds.
only girl in the YAF
100%.
meetups.
100%.
Were they all trying to
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Why would he ask her that question? Right? Like he is sitting as a political person asking her a question about being connected to one of the most powerful men in politics. And you're not on a best friend podcast. You're not on a girly gay spill the tea podcast. You are literally misunderstanding the context of the situation in a way that makes me like very confused. Why are you sitting there in a suit as if you're interviewing this very important person? And then you're like, so do they want to smash? Did boys like want to fuck? It's like, I'm sick of women having to be asked these questions. Like, I'm sick of it. Now, if he had said, do you think that you were put in a position as a woman where you like vulnerable and targeted by these men? Like, did you feel safe or did you feel like they were constantly trying to take advantage of you? She could have said, yeah, like I think being the only girl in that space was really hard, you know, something. But instead it was like, were they trying to, you know, like, what is that? You know, come on now. Okay. Next time, Sam. Our next, example. Here's, I'm going to go back and forth, right? Here's her TikTok.
Hi, I'm trying to be more feminist and not lose all self-respect when I am around men. So what do we do? How do we keep our self-respect after a man says, good girl? Good girl.
Okay. Right? And then her comment section's like, so the interview with Hassan went really well, huh? Let's see. Let's see. Respond. Okay. Blah 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 blah. This is old, but you know this came out I think before that interview. But like, you know, just like I get it, but also, girly, please, like, again, are you what are you doing on the internet? Are you a comedian? Because there is a way to make this funny. Or are you a political commentator? Like, are you the girl who's speaking about injustice, you know, done to her because of the U.S. government and Elon Musk? Like, again, who are you in the story? How am I supposed to receive this TikTok? Okay. So you guys know this one, right? She did the collaboration with Hassan, and then she went, I'm in love with a criminal. Okay. But what's interesting about this is the comment sections, right? Honestly, girl, you're so real for this. He's ruining all my pick me progress. Ashley says, this girl says, me too. Okay. And then she goes, I knew you were simping. I don't blame you. My brain fell out of my head. Who even was that? That wasn't me. You were flirting so hard. LOL. Because why is he so buff? Why did he make eye contact? I've been one-shotted. This is the plot twist of the century. I know Elon is crying, throwing up in his jet right now. You, when Hassan speaks, you know, and you had me dying with the hoodie. I think you managed 2 birds with 1 stone with that one. Blah, 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 blah. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, it's not just individual women. It's the group of people who are uplifting Hassan's patriarchal framework and engaging in it through a liberal lens. Like, again, when I think leftist, I also think, like, you remember when Bell Hooks was criticizing Beyonce's choice of album cover? And we were like, wait a second, didn't she choose that album cover? And then Bell Hooks had to make us all sit down and fucking listen because she was like, okay, but who chose that? Who chose that idea? And why was this the idea? And she broke it down. We were like, sorry, we argued, you know? Listen, I aspire to be so much like Bell Hooks in that way, where I would love to be able to sit down and say, I know you think you made this decision, but let's walk it back. Who told you this was what you should wear, how you should look, what you should sound like? And again, I don't think these women in these spaces are engaging with that amount of philosophical rhetoric because philosophy is just not fun. I love it. I do it for a living, but obviously it's not very popular. Even Ashley herself says in an interview that nuance is not very popular. So that's why conservative rhetoric is very not nuanced, because that's what people prefer. I also think that's what the left prefers. I do think liberals and leftists also prefer no nuance, because the nuance just feels like too hard. But that's what I live for, so I will continue doing it. But I think like this is the problem I have with this space in general. And I do think it's so human. So again, this isn't so the space will change. I don't think it will change. I think this is the space. It will always be the space. This is for you. I always make my work for us, right? And for anyone else who's in this space going, man, is this it? Because I remember being a liberal. I remember being a leftist. I remember having moments where I was like, yes, okay, we agree. This is bad. This is the whole FD versus BE conversation, right? Like, slurs are bad, right? We're not going to do slurs. We're right. Slurs are out. And then to get on stream and be like, oh, but only when it's out of fascist, dark, woke. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a second. Hold on. Okay. Oh, we can say the N-word, but only at ICE agents. Hold on, wait a second. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a second. How did we get here? And it is because this bubble isn't actually trying to help people. It is trying to, through celebrity, pretend to help people. And I just don't think it's very different. Politically speaking, right? If the Democrats are not that much different from Republicans, then I don't think political streamers are that much different anyways from other political streamers. If you're famous and you guys are fighting on Twitter together, then yeah, I think you're all kind of the same. Because it is materially the same at the end of the day. Even though you say it's not, it is.
Palm Beach didn't want him. Yeah. That's why he started Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
They're like, he's too weird and what?
Yeah, and he's rude. He's a slumlord. And he was
white
too,
trash.
Yeah, he was nouveau riche. He was too gauche. Like, he wasn't old money. So the New York elite never saw him as...
Hold on, I just want to see. Chad says she almost seems self-aware. I'm confused. Guys, self-awareness does not mean introspection. And she uses the word deconstruction, but like, yes, that takes a while. You can be deconstructed when it comes to eating animals and not be deconstructed when it comes to racism, right? So like deconstruction is not it's not linear. It's like thousands of issues that you're plagued with. You have to deconstruct every single one. So self-awareness is like BoJack Horseman. This is always my example. He's very self-aware that he's abusive, toxic, and all these other things. He just doesn't do anything about it. Being self-aware isn't enough, but it sounds good enough to most people. Most people think what you need is self-awareness. Oh, no. These people are all self-aware. They're just not doing anything with it.
As one of their own. And I think that's what a lot of that resentment. That's where a lot of this resentment comes from. And I feel like there's a different version of that within the conservative.
Yeah, no, he's like, I'm going to
influencer
rename
space.
everything after me. You're never going to be able to not look at me. I'm going to be on your bridges, at your airports. I don't understand how the Republicans don't think that's crazy. Because I get it.
It's
like,
a cult.
they can say I'm coming from a place of spite or whatever, scorned woman. But I don't know how they look at all of this and they don't think it's insane, objectively.
I mean, you were there and you didn't think it was insane, objectively. See? What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know how they don't think it's insane? And even if they do, didn't you just say they're all like, didn't you say in these interviews that they're all basically like, a lot of them believe in it, but a lot of them are grifters? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying my heat for Ashley is that she is just saying, she hasn't unlearned the saying what people want to hear thing. So she's just saying what Hassan wants to hear, but it makes no sense for the position she was in to say this out loud.
I mean, the craziest thing is like Republicans hate, at least if there's one consistent principle that Republicans are supposed to hate, it's like wasting taxpayer money, right?
Yes.
Like small government. I hate when the government is stealing from me in the form of taxes. Donald Trump's.
You know what I mean? Like she has to unlearn this need to just cater to the person who's in front of her. And now I say to you again, if she was really on a path for redemption, if Ashley was my friend, I'd say, hey girl, I love that you're changing. I love this so much. It's so important. I think you need to show up on the internet differently though, because this was her on the internet a day ago. This is her content.
Get ready with me while I talk about how MAGA said I'm an unfit mother and should lose custody of my children after I was on a stream with Hassan Piker, and then Hassan got subpoenaed by the feds for his humanitarian trip to Cuba. For those who don't know, my name is Ashley St. Clair. I was a MAGA influencer involved in MAGA politics for almost a decade. I know. Now, before we get into what I'm going to talk about today, I do want to draw attention to a case out of Alabama. There is a black teenager who went missing and then was found shot, dismembered, and burned. His name is Marcavius Rumpf. And I do think that there needs to be more attention on these matters because after all of the hullabaloo over Nancy Guthrie, this does seem like it should be looked into. I watched videos of his mother and family crying.
Pause. As much as I love that she's bringing attention to this case, am I confused in understanding that she just renounced MAGA officially like a month ago? Or within the last few months? Google is saying May 7th. Some of it's saying March. Either way, 2026, right? Don't you think don't you feel like a little icky about this? Right? Doesn't that feel a little icky? That she's just turned around so hard and in a way that feels like, see, now I feel like I can't criticize her because she's bringing attention to this horrible story. And I'm sitting here like, I feel like I'm trapped now. I want to criticize her, but now she's bringing attention to, and now I can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And so again, like when we have this conversation, it's like, how am I supposed to trust this lady? Okay. And also I will look into that story because I haven't fact checked it / looked it up, but it sounds devastating. And there definitely needs to be more attention on it. So I will look that up for later tomorrow or in stream. And I put it in my notes to say like, I haven't heard about this story, but we'll look into it. Okay. Next part on stream.
There's a desperation and not dissimilar to Trump, actually. There's this like
also, mind you, getting ready while you tell me about the horrific attack on a black person is also really fucking annoying to me. I don't like the get ready with me's. I don't like them. Like get ready for me's are for like fun topics. They're not for like the murder of a black person or any of, you know what I'm saying? So like, don't put your makeup on when you're telling me the story. That's what I'm saying. Like, please be serious. Plus, getting ready with me's are marketing tactics by TikTok to make people keep watching you. So she's just utilizing like capitalistic like frameworks to keep people engaged. And then she's, it's weird. I don't like it.
Like constant need for admiration that he has. And he wants people that despise him to like him a lot, which I guess in a weird way.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think he really hates and like wants to smite all of his enemies.
Okay,
Like,
well, that's not
like-
great for me, I think, because I don't think he likes me
No,
too
I don't
much.
think so.
No, he tweets about me all the time, which at first it was like,
Same.
at first, well, for you, it makes sense. You guys, you guys had sex, so. Did you not? Wait, is that not? Wait, I jokingly said he mailed his cum in a No, he tweets about me all the time, which at first it was like,
Same.
at first, well, for you, it makes sense. You guys, you guys had sex, so. Did you not? Wait, is that not? Wait, I jokingly said he mailed his cum in a napkin.
Don't say that. That is so gross.
But like what?
Hassan.
Okay, well.
Where's the spray bottle?
Okay, I apologize.
Is your mother watching this?
No, she.
Aprosite. Gross. Disgusting. Excuse me, sir. Aprosite, sir. Disgusting. Okay? Gross. This is what I'm saying. Like, no person in 2026 should be subjected by a so-called leftist into, well, you had sex with him, didn't you? Like, oh, what about his cum, bro? Like, stop. Stop talking to her this way. It's gross. And I hate that she's in this position, but she's going back to her typical training of like letting men talk to her this way and being like, oh my God. Okay, I don't like it.
Would be horrified with the
I'm
things
gonna
that I
call
say.
your mom.
No, she'd be horrified
That
with the
was
things I say on this broadcast.
Completely inappropriate.
Okay, so
No, I didn't get a napkin, Hassan.
so he didn't mail.
Don't.
He didn't mail it.
No,
Okay.
there was no mailing, Hassan.
Okay, so
Gross.
That's really
So remember how he told this story to Starvos? Okay, remember how he told the story? He's like, "Oh yeah, I asked her about the cum napkin," and I'm like, "See how the energy's different? Don't let him get away with this. It's gross."
anyway, well, the point I was making, perhaps a little bit in a crude way, was that you guys were intimate with one another. I don't know this guy at all. He should not know who a random Twitch streamer is. Why the
Listen to this. Listen to this.
with one another? I don't know this guy at all. He should not know who a random Twitch streamer is.
Do you think he maybe knows who you are because you obsessively tweet at him and you're always trying to ratio him and that you're always trying to get the news to talk about you and you love when Fox News talks about you? Did you really think Elon Musk would know who you are? Stop saying you're a random Twitch guy. This is what I'm saying. You are not a random Twitch guy. You are trying to do something. Yes, so in one side of Hassan fan mouths, they're like, oh my God, he's doing something, Brittany, he's doing something. And the other side, they're like, he's just a guy. He's the best guy around. He's just a guy. This is what they used to say about Charlie Kirk. He's just a podcaster. He's not just a podcaster. How do these men can always end up in such positions of power and people just literally go, they're just a guy. It's like, Habibi, you can't be just a guy. The news is talking about you. PBS is talking about you. The president knows who you are. You were just subpoenaed by the government. Like, you're not just a guy. You know, and I get he in this interview, he understands like he hasn't been subpoenaed yet, but come on, dude, you're not just a guy. And so again, like, I'm sick of like people getting away with this, but it is always going to keep happening. So we just, we have to accept it and then we have to do something about it. And we have to say it. This is wrong. This is wrong of Hassan. This is why I'm like, this is why I understand why people are so critical of him. I was just watching Cavicular talk. No, whoa, hold on. Totally wrong name. Cavernacle. Fuck. I was not watching Clavicular. Cavernacle. I was just watching Cavernacle get really upset with Hassan because I'm upset with Hassan for being such a Plattner fucking apologist, right? And like, that's so frustrating to me. It's like, bro, like, why are you making excuses for this man who made a lifelong career of being basically a mercenary? And then you're like, oh, I think he's coming around. Like, stop it right now.
Why the does he know
he's
who?
like, Twitter's like breaking his brain.
Why does he know who I am? Like, why does Elon even know who I am? Hassan, you can't say in one part of your mouth you want everybody to know who you are to push leftist policy. And then on the other side of your mouth be like, why does Elon Musk even know who I am? I don't know. Maybe because you're tagging him on Twitter?
Or like what was
Well,
left of
mine
it.
too. Which is why if he like ended up banning me after this interaction, it'd probably be good for my
Oh yeah, and now you're interviewing his former, like, you know what I'm saying? You're not doing yourself any favors. You want Elon to know who you are. Like, I don't know why he pretends.
mental health, honestly.
And this is why I say, girls, if I wanted to be famous and popular, I would have to engage in this behavior, tweeting at people, arguing with people, constantly mentioning them, tagging them. But you see how I don't do any of those things? Because I don't want Elon Musk to know who I am. I literally do not want him to know who I am. But Hassan Piker to get up here and lie right to our faces about like, why does Elon even know who I am? I'm just a guy. I cannot believe the people in his life. If he was my little brother, I would literally, he would not hear the end of it if he was my little brother.
It's like, it's so bad.
It's really bad. Like objectively, and I'm not just saying that because I hate that platform and everything on it, but it got a lot worse. I used to love Twitter.
Yeah, me too. I'm still a power user, unfortunately, which is part of the reason why I don't think he'll ban me. Because like, I'm like, I am a noticeable percentage of.
Oh, so you are famous on Twitter. Oh, you do go viral because of Twitter. How does Elon Musk know who I am?
Of the real human interactions that takes place on that website. Not
How do you
botted
gauge
shit.
that?
Or
are you just like guessing?
I just assume, but also because like anytime I say
ridiculous
dumb shit, it drives discourse for at least like a day and a half.
Whoa, why does the owner of a website constantly know who I am, even though I'm always going viral on the site? Because I'm tweeting at people. Do you know what I'm saying? Right to our faces, this man is playing. Yep.
Where people are just like.
And by the way, you know what the worst part is? Fuck his haters, right? His haters are crazy. It's his fans that I'm looking at. I'm like, see how easily we fall for these things? See how you wonder why Trump is in office? Because this is how low the bar is. The bar is an absolute hell for, quote, the good people. This is why I say, philosophically speaking, we might be good, but as a whole, we are bad. And as a whole, okay, we are not doing as good. We're going to fail this group project because we keep putting these people at the forefront of our, like, this is the guy representing our group. It's over. And that's why I say, like, the reason politics is about winning is because you have to be ruthless and unethical to get into any position of power. And that's why the best people you know will never be famous, will never be in these circles, will always be in their communities, always working very hard. It's why the creatives, the leftists that I love, the way that I think about how I want to move through the world as well is like always about community. And the community can look in different ways. So just, okay, take that with a grain of salt. But Hasan is too much of a celebrity. Like, I don't want to be a celebrity, And I think Hasan does. And I think that should always be a red flag to anyone who cares about helping a community is how can you care about the community if you make it about yourself? And that's why all the debate bros that hate Hasan are also just as bad as, they're worse than he is in many ways, obviously, but they're not better than him. Like them criticizing him, it doesn't matter because, they're evil. They're more evil than Hasan. Again, we have to hold people on this is why I love that TikTok we watched where it was like, today I love Zoran and tomorrow I'm going to hold him accountable because at the end of the day, like he's not my friend. He is a public servant. We love him as a person. And tomorrow I'm going to hold him accountable as a politician. And same thing with Hasan. You can like Hasan, but if he's going to be this loud and this guy and this microphone and this privilege, and then he better be responsible. Then he has to take a position of leadership. He can't just fuck around on his stream and be like, I'm just a guy. You're not just a guy at this point. So either like figure that out or like get out of the way so other people who actually care can replace you.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You, I want to kill you right now. So
Isn't it great how much people just want to kill you for having like political?
Yeah, I'm used to it, but it's a fucking neo-Nazi shithole. Of course, there's a lot of people who want to kill me. I hate Nazis. But so there'll be
okay. Pause that. Okay. Here's this one.
Within the White House and MAGA. Get ready with me while I tell you more about the pay to play within the White House and MAGA, as well as why I think MAGA is the real party of DEI. For those who don't know, my name is Ashley St. Clair, and I was a MAGA influencer involved in MAGA politics for almost a decade, I know. For a party that is so obsessed with meritocracy and squashing DEI, they themselves are the biggest proponents of DEI on the planet. Because do
you get it? She has a shtick. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I say to you? Like, if I wanted to sensationalize any part of my life, I could make TikToks going, hey guys, what's it like being 37 and living as an autistic girly in the world? And that could be my shtick every time I open. But what is my shtick? We do philosophy through pop culture. This is popular culture. It's trending. This is a problem. She is turning, again, she is not taking accountability for the harm that she caused by making get ready with me's and spilling secrets like it's fucking tea when we're talking about national security and or like real people's lives that the man she decided to have a baby with contributed to. Okay? Girl. Okay, now let's go to Matt's channel where he interviewed her. And I just again, I have timestamps. I watched the whole thing myself, but here's timestamps. This is an hour 15 long podcast. People said, Brittany, watch this podcast. I really feel like she's being genuine. And again, how do we know people have changed? First, we have to know that it's going to take a while. 2, we have to see it be embodied. Right now, she's a very superficial understanding of change. She's just in the beginning stages. And you guys are treating her like she's a butterfly. And I know people are like, but Brittany, if people can't change, then no one will try. I know. But I'm telling you right now, it is very hard to change as a person. It's very, 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 very hard. And so for you guys to sit here and not understand that is why I think it's interesting that you're giving her her flowers before she's done the change. There were so many marginalized people, so many activists, so many good people doing so much good work that Hasan could have platformed. But instead he took a girl 3 months or a month free of MAGA and propped her up, and she's not even using it in the most responsible way, right? Because she's not ready. She's not ready.
Like many right-wing influencers, a lot of it centered around posting videos of queer.
Chat says Hasan is autistic, and that's why I tend to give him a pass. Do you give the same pass to Elon Musk? You know, we have to check our biases. I get it, but I'm not going to give that pass to Elon. I'm not going to give it to Hasan. I'm not going to give it to myself. Okay, and also notice that Hasan doesn't take on the responsibility of being autistic. He doesn't wear it proudly. He doesn't get diagnosed. He doesn't actually say I'm self-diagnosing. He wants none of the repercussions of actually being autistic, because if he would, his opposition would say, oh, he's autistic. He doesn't know what he's talking about. They would make R-word jokes at him, right? He would actually have to be autistic. And I'm not saying he isn't autistic. I'm saying notice that he never actually owns the label. He only uses it to make his audience more empathetic to him. He weaponizes it. He weaponizes it. So he is ADHD diagnosed. And again, I believe in self-diagnosis, but if Hasan wants to come out and say, I am truly autistic, it is very real, and I want to talk about it, let him do that, and let's see how his opposition treats him. But he's not going to, because it doesn't look good.
People or activists at protests, like protesting things like ICE, or people wearing masks in 2020 and kind of making fun of them. You use the terms crybaby liberals, triggered liberals, and deranged liberals like hundreds of times.
Hundreds? It's like, I don't think it's funny. I really I know that it's caused harm, but also it's like I'm laughing at my own psychosis that is the reality that I posted it hundreds of times. But as you can imagine, that also wasn't very original language.
Pause. No self-awareness, no accountability. I was in psychosis. You were not in psychosis. Oh, I did it hundreds of times. She is not ready to say it with her full chest. One of the reasons I allow you guys to bring up anything from my past, one, I'm lucky I never really did as bad, obviously. But 2, is because let's talk about it. I did it. My body did it. My brain did it. My voice did it. Let's talk about it, right? She's not even ready to do that, right? She's too either embarrassed, not ready, ashamed, or grifting. Whatever it is, she already uses language that takes her out of responsibility. Oh, I was in psychosis. But you weren't, girly. You weren't in psychosis, right? So she knows that. But she's, you know what I'm saying? It's the language choice here.
But as you can imagine, that reality that I posted it hundreds of times. But as you can imagine, that also wasn't very original language.
Sure.
So this is actually what I wrote in my notes here, that there are so many people who post that sort of content on.
Exactly. She was following the social script of the expectation in order to garner views, because people know the brand and the shtick. She went right into it. She was one of the MAGA girlies, one of the MAGA honeys, right? She went right into it. Okay.
Online.
Yeah.
It's very cruel, and it's also incredible for engagement. Did you feel passionately that these people you were posting about and, were making fun of, that they deserved the things that you and your followers?
Okay, once again, guys, if you keep calling, I'm going to be critical because it's important. You said dissecting cult traumas often takes a long time, so hopefully she's just in the point of processing. If she was in a cult, Trump's in a cult. Is Trump a cult? Is Trump in the cult? You're doing the thing where it's not an accurate title for a girly who is just a conservative. Do you know what I'm saying? I grew up with conservatives my whole life. They're not in cults. They're just bigoted people. Some of them are in cults. I don't know anyone who's really in a cult. You know what I'm saying? We're doing this thing where it's like, oh, well, everyone must be in the cult. A cult is a very specific thing. And so again, you're not really like seeing it what it is, right? You guys are like, Trump is the cult leader. Trump is not even a cult leader. That's what's even funnier. It's like, guys, do you guys watch documentaries on cults? Do you read books on cults? I don't even know how this fits into the BITE model. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not a cultist. He's a politician. He's a businessman. He's a ruthless psychopath at most. And I can't even say that. You know what I mean? Again, just because people are obsessed with cults doesn't mean that information is accurate. Again, maybe you guys know more about cults than I do, and I admit this, and I give you this, but I'm just telling you right now, it can't always be a cult. And it feels a little bit like it's confusing, to me. I don't know. Maybe you know more than I do. I'll give you that. But I'm just telling you, for the conservatives that I know, they are not in a cult. They are not in a cult. They are just refusing to engage in any of the harm that they cause, and they're doubling down because they don't want to have to face themselves. Like any boyfriend you ever date. Okay, so again.
Followers were saying to them, or did you just enjoy like the engagement and attention? Like, take me into the mind of 19-year-old Ashley.
Most of the time when you post a video of some random person at a protest, you're completely disconnected from...
Discord said, do you consider Christianity a cult? No. No, I don't. No. Catholicism is not a cult to me. Islam is not a cult to me. No. Okay? No. They are not cults. Like, I don't see them that way.
The personal affect on that individual. I don't know what the affect was on any of the individuals I posted. And that I feel immense guilt over. You're completely disconnected. It's just this content machine where you're pointing out things that at the time seem absurd, and you're very...
Okay, chat, are you trolling me? I will block people. I will block people. You said Abba and Preach turned out to be a cult. They are not a cult. That's not a cult. Yeah, cult of personality does not mean a cult, guys. Being charismatic does not mean cult leader. You know what I mean? It's not a cult. Cult is a very... and then there's factions of places. You can be a Christian who isn't a cult, a Christian cult. You can be in a Muslim cult. You can be in a Mormon cult. But you can't say all Christians are in a cult. That's what it sounds... Just to clarify, is that what you're saying? Are you saying all Christians are in a cult? Are you saying some Christians are in cults? All MAGA isn't in a cult, but some MAGA are in cults. I'm just clear. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something. But you, obviously, these billions of people, you sound like the people that are Islamophobic. All Muslims are terrorists. No. Like, that's what you sound like. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no. Some people who happen to be Muslim are terrorists in the same way that some people who happen to be white men are terrorists. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay? So again, when we have these conversations,
swept up in this machine that makes things appear more radical than they are. And so I think that's what it was. I was also when you're being fed that content, that's your reality. And then when that's
everybody. Everybody lives in a bubble. Everyone only has the information that is accessible to them. And everyone only has the information that they try to go out and find. Right? So like everybody grows up in bubbles. All of us live in bubbles now. We only have the reliance of our perception. That's why I encourage you to read and watch documentaries and go out there. That's why conservatives typically don't watch the opposition because it's offensive to them. That doesn't mean they're in cults. Because I know leftists who also don't watch the opposition because they're like, I don't want to watch that. Just because you're ignorant doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, your ignorance is not good for anybody, but it doesn't mean you're in a cult. And it doesn't mean that, you're not responsible. Okay?
See that content, you're like, oh my God, it's true. Everything they said is true. This is the way the world is. It's so crazy and everyone's losing their minds and we have to stop the radical left. And it's very much this pathology that kind of distorts your own perception of reality, I would say.
So at the time you would post like, I don't know, a video of like a flamboyant gay person or what, like whatever it might be that the right those days was.
And by the way, chat saying the BITE model isn't always like the end all be all. That's fine. I don't want to argue semantics with you. I want to challenge you to think stronger and better about people, because sometimes I meet people who didn't grow up religious and they literally think people are talking to people in their brain. Like, people have actually told me, like, because you don't fucking know anything about every person on the planet, they'll be like, oh my God, do your parents literally think they're talking to God? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, when Christians say like, oh, they hear the voice of God, I was like, it's not literal. And they're like, isn't it? And I'm like, no. Do you think my parents literally think they're auditorily hearing the word of God? No. No, because otherwise I'd send my mom to the doctor if she was hearing the voice of God. So you're doing this thing where I think like I have to, you have to also understand you might not know stuff. Because there is this assumption I see from non-religious people who didn't grow up religious, where they literally think all religious people think they're hearing the voice of God literally. And I'm just like, no. So then you're not understanding my stories when I tell you stories about my parents. You're not even getting it because you don't have the information to get it. So you write you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying it's hard to know where we all come from. You're not a bad person. Hello? Lock in. I'm not saying you're a bad person, girls. I'm saying make sure you recognize where I'm coming from. So when I say it's not a cult and you say it is a cult, we might be defining cult differently. But for the sake of being the person with the microphone and catering to a very specific audience, because I know some of you, I'm sorry, have you been to cult TikTok? Some of you are a little in the cult still. There are people who make cult TikToks who are definitely still in the cults. Like, you can feel it. I'm like, girl. And I'm just saying, with peace and love, sometimes it's like true crime, where some of the people who are in these bubbles, they're too in the bubble, and you don't know how the rest of us are operating. And so I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying when you say, oh, she's in a cult. She's in a cult. She's not, girl. Okay. This girlie is not in a cult. Okay, here's a TikTok from Ashley.
I bet you've never listened to one Joe Rogan podcast. I've met your heroes. They are short and stupid. Cerebral speed bumps, if you will.
Okay, chat said the person who wrote the Bite model wrote a book about the Trump of cult. Okay, great. And do you guys get what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? Or are you just arguing? What does that matter? Does that discount what I said? Or are you just sharing? Right? I'm saying there are parts of MAGA that are cult. I'm saying Trump can have a cult, but I'm saying it doesn't mean Ashley Sinclair was in a cult. Was Charlie Kirk in a cult? Is every person who ever voted Republican in a cult? Is Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff, whatever, are they all in cults? No. Be specific with your language. She's not in a cult. She's just conservative. You know what I'm saying? For your sake, recognize this, because if she was in a cult, it would be I've watched so many people come out of cults. It is a devastating experience. It is a complete reworking of their whole life. Deep therapy, deep psychotic help. They are really doing great, like they're doing great work. I've seen it. I love to see those Maureen girlies that are now free as fuck on TikTok. Love them. Okay. But there is a clear, we are getting out of a cult. This girlie is not getting out of a cult. You know what I mean? I just like, again, okay?
I bet
okay, this is an example of her TikTok. I know Joe Rogan. Okay, blah, blah. Back to Matt. By the way, I got to say what I got to say because I am the person with the microphone, and I just don't want to set the precedent that I think she was in a cult. So that's why I'm arguing with you. Not because you don't think she's in a cult, but because I don't want people to think I think she was in a cult.
This is just a minor question, but it's regarding like the syntax in which you like spoke in some of these old tweets and pretty much all your old tweets, and seeing how you talk online now. It's like a totally different world. You seem like a normal, like you don't talk like a bot or like every other right-wing influencer. Is there like a syntax that everyone is like, this is the way we have to speak? Does it come down from the top? Where does the syntax come from? Is it talked about in these spaces at all?
It's not really talked about, but it's kind of implied. You know, nuance isn't really great for engagement.
Okay.
And I think at that point, I found myself stuck in a cultivated audience.
See, listen to that.
It's not really talked about, but it's kind of implied. You know, nuance isn't really great for engagement.
Whether you're on the right or the left, I believe this to be true. I really think the reason some YouTubers gain so much success is because they stick to the script, and that's what gets it. And I know this from my own business. I know for a fact that anytime I go out of the framework of the script that people expect me to do, they're like, what are you doing? And this includes criticizing Hassan, right? When I criticize Hassan, people are like, what are you doing? You're getting out of the script. Don't criticize him. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna criticize anyone that I think deserves it. I'm gonna give him his flowers when he deserves it, right? So it's interesting that like she says it. I'm telling you it's true. I'm telling you it's true. I know this from my early days in conservative bubbles. They expect you to follow a script and you're not supposed to leave it. Everybody feels this way. And that's why I'm saying the work that I do, I think it's so important for the people that are looking for it. But a majority of people aren't looking for it because the majority of people, they don't care. And that's why the world is the way that it is. It's not just MAGA. It's not just conservatives. It's also liberals. It's also leftists. It's all of us. Every single one of us are complicit in the way that the world is. We don't get to sit here and think we're all the good ones. And because we're all the good ones, well, it's only the bad. No, we're all the problem.
Okay.
And I think at that point, I found myself stuck in a cultivated audience of MAGA boomers.
So they expect you to talk like them.
My content flew on Facebook.
Hmm.
It flew. I mean, the people who would come up to me were all like 50-year-old men who were like, thank you for your hard work for this country. And
that's wild.
And there was like very much this thing. They're like, you're really out there. You're pushing back on them. And they like, you kind of feel like a soldier for a minute. You're like, yeah, that's right. You're like,
that's your Vietnam hat moment.
yeah, you have these men coming up to you who are wearing veteran hats and they're like, you're doing great work for this country. And I'm like, thank you, sir. And so
Oh,
like
God.
it really feeds the delusion. I like my stomach feels ill after that.
Okay, well, I'm not reading any tweets for a while, so you can breathe easy.
Okay, next clip.
No, I actually. This is my impression of a man who's never pleasured a woman. No, I actually don't mind ICE at the airports. And in fact, on this Joe Rogan episode, this is my impression of a man who's never pleasured a woman.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I actually don't mind ICE at the airports. And in fact, on this Joe Rogan episode,
like, I get it. She's in her girl boss era where she's trying to take back her power. She's trying to be jokey. She's 27. I have a lot of empathy for this, but it's not there yet. So I don't know why we're supporting her. Like, she's really like, oh my God, like, whoa. You know, she's still trying to figure herself out.
No, it's actually, we're not at the book yet. The elephant that I want to address is you're pretty.
Thanks.
Well, I mentioned that because this ecosystem of right-wing media has a penchant for young traditional.
Okay, chat. Says definition, a cult is a group centered around intense devotion to a leader or ideology, discouraging independent thinking, isolating family members, typically with manipulation, control, and violence. Isolating family members is the big key here, okay? And that is the biggest key for me because, like, that doesn't happen in most situations. Because people could say, like, oh, leftists are in a cult because they have to break up with their families. Or, oh, Hassan is in a cult because, like, if you talk about him, his viewers come and get you. Like, it's not a cult. When you have a fandom, you can weaponize that fandom to bully people. But I think the control element is what I'm talking about here. Ashley St. Clair was not controlled. She was not cut off from her family. She was not cut off from her friends. She was absolutely on the internet, accessible to media. She absolutely had the ability to go on any other website. She had ability to read books. She could have gone to the library. She could have chosen other friends on campus. She chose to go to a Turning Point USA campus club, a Republican club. She could have chosen any other group to join. It wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? And so again, like, she was never in a controlled situation. She was in a pressured situation. She was in a bully situation. She was in a lot of situations, but she was never in a high controlled situation.
Attractive right-wing women. It's also very dominated by white men. I don't know, like, what was the gender dynamic there?
That was what.
Okay, Chet says, I don't think most people use cult in that way. That's the only way I know that cult should be used. So if the internet has changed the word cult to mean something else, you guys can update me on it, right? But that is the only definition that I have ever known about cults. Documentaries, books, academic. So if the internet has changed the word, I'm here for it. If you just mean like, oh, casually, like, oh my God, it's such a cult. Like, sure, I can be like fun with you and be like, oh my God, what a cult. But if we're being serious, again, are we joking or are we being serious? If we're being serious, then no, it is not a cult. If we're being jokey, then sure.
Something that I was privy to very early on, that it was very much a good old boys club. And there were a lot of young girls that I kind of tried to guide and tell them, hey, you know, you're in this, we're in the good fight, but you're.
And by the way, I don't mean, no. See, I don't agree with this. I just have to say it. Because Chet says people misuse words all the time. We should not water down the word like cult. I don't believe in watering down. I don't even believe in that concept. I'm saying if you are using cult in that way, that's fine. I'm using it in this way So if you're engaging in conversation with me, I just have to make sure, because I don't care that you use it anyway. You could say, Brittany, cult means doing the boogie, doing a dance, having fun. Okay, great. Cult means kissing. Awesome. In this bubble, that's not what it means. So I hear you. When I'm in your bubble, I'll make sure to say, oh, I would love to cult you right now because I'd love to kiss you right now. You get what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't care. Words they're non-existent. They're a construct. They don't exist. So I'm happy to play around with you. But in this bubble, this is what I mean by cult. So I would say, no, she was not in a cult. But okay, when I jump into your bubble, I'll change the way that I use the word cult.
And you're in a man's world and you need to be careful and you need to just keep your head on a swivel because they'll eat you whole. And that was one of the things that I was always aware of very early on, because I very quickly was in the room with prominent individuals and the dynamics I saw in which women were abused.
Oh my God. Ew.
Or they were
Right next to
assaulted
him.
and they
Ugh, that
couldn't
picture is
speak
crazy.
up because this was, like the anti-Me Too party.
Mhm.
And I was someone who had been a victim of sexual assault.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
had been viewing it
Sad.
through that lens as well. And I was always really uncomfortable with it, but you're convinced out of it. You're convinced out of what your lived reality is and that your lived experience isn't important. What's important is the facts. What's important is the economy. And we can't be derailed by this woman's measly experience and put it aside and compartmentalize it. I think that played a big role as well, especially when I had my first son and I'm labeled the single mom as a slur.
Yep.
That played an immense role as well.
Yep.
I've watched
And I do think that SA is just not taken seriously in any of the bubbles. And so even for, again, to talk to a victim of sexual assault in the way that men often do, or to talk about her, that's why the Hassan Stavo clips were so bad. And it's not that he even has to know that about her. It's that men just feel entitled to talking about women in such a particular way, regardless of the bubbles that they're in, right? Okay, next TikTok from Ashley.
She's making this up. What? Okay. Then don't trust me. Don't believe.
Wait.
We shouldn't trust Ashley St. Clair. She's just scripting. She's making this up. What? Okay. Then don't trust me. Don't believe me. My life changes not even a little bit if you don't believe me. I'm putting this out there because I feel like it's the right thing to do, to talk about this, and I feel guilty that I did not talk about it sooner, but hopefully people can understand.
Okay.
This is 6 days ago.
You want more mac and cheese? Hopefully people can understand why I didn't. And I'm angry. I'm really angry about the things that have been done to my family. I'm angry for my children. So yeah, I've also seen just some crazy stuff. People being like, she's doing this to sabotage the midterms, to make the Democrats less likely to vote in the midterms. What? If I'm sabotaging anyone, you really think it's the Democrats with everything I just told you guys for real? No, I'm just telling you what was said to me. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I experienced. Take it or leave it. I understand. I genuinely understand why some people are distrustful, or it might take them time to trust me. I get it. But I don't know, man. There's just some wild conspiracies. And I'm doing this you really think I just sat here and I'm like, ooh, I know the way to grift. I know the best way to grift and make money. I'm going to punch the most powerful people in the world who control the White House, the federal government, all of the people who could harm me. I'm going to punch them in the face just for funsies. That's my bright idea for a grift. What are you doing, baby? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds really good on the surface, but I would say in some ways that almost sounds believable. But I would think to myself, and this is the dilemma, right? One of the reasons I never continued in politics is because I know that it is dangerous, right? And I'm not talking about activism, which is very different. I'm talking about politics. And then I will say activists are more than happy to die for their cause. That's why many of them do, right? But specifically, unless I was ready to die for my cause, unless I was ready to put my family in danger, like unless I was ready to take on that form of fame, that I wasn't going to do it. And the fact that nobody in her life could tell her that, or the fact that all of us are fame-seeking creatures, the fact that Hassan is platforming her, like I can understand the idea that in some ways she feels like she can't just go private and live out her life. So she needs to keep making people aware of her. Then I just wish she would do it in a serious manner, right? So then there's something to be said about the way that she's conducting herself. Like, I do think there is like a lack of seriousness in her messaging that would benefit her if she could understand it, but I don't think she can, because I think she doesn't even understand how serious it is. Even though she says she does, I don't think she does. And same thing with everybody else involved. Like, I don't think anybody understands how serious this is. The same way they don't understand how serious it is that Palestine, I know, because this is what I do for a living, that you do not understand. The world does not understand that right in front of our eyes, Israel is remaking a map. That we are watching right in front of us a whole population disappear. It's crazy. Like, it's so important. And it's just happening. It's just happening right in front of us. And so, like, again, this should make you feel like, I could even imagine having this much power, this much influence, and this is how I was using it. Like, again, I'm not asking for it. I'm saying if I was you, I could not imagine this is the way that I would use my influence. You have the ear of millions of people, and like, you're still just making it about like you. Even though all of your work, because you were making it about you, hurt so many people. And I'm saying, sometimes I think the best way to realize that you've changed is to give yourself time to do it. And she isn't by distracting herself with all of this content. If she wants to keep people updated in a very serious way with what's happening, we should pay attention to that. But she is posting too many silly things for me to really believe. And I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm saying she's like many people. It's like the bar is in hell, so we'll take it. And I think Hassan is proof of that. I mean, I don't understand how you're going to let Hassan talk the way he did about Ashley or about women in general with men on a stream and just be like, well, he's doing a lot of good though. And then wonder why we have a sexual assault predator in the White House, who, by the way, did you see the news? Did you see the news this morning? Hold on.
Seeing cis women question.
Thank you. Did you see this news this morning?
Breaking news moments ago, the Department of Justice has launched a criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll. She accused President Trump of sexual assault. The investigation is allegedly centered around whether Carroll committed perjury during her civil lawsuit against the president. She was eventually awarded a $5 million judgment. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has recused himself from the investigation, given his past representation of Trump in the matter.
Bro, this White House going after Hassan, going after her. I'm telling you right now, this is not the time to be making teehee TikToks at Elon or anybody else. If you are in this position, you have this much power, do something with it. Do something with it, because it's so fucking serious.
So Ashley, when you say, and I know you can't comment on those things directly.
Hold on, I got it on ×2.
But, a lot of people, I would imagine, are going to comment on this episode as they have on other tweets that you've made about how, she was kind of ousted from the right because she ended up becoming a single mother and they turned on her. And so now she's trying to grift to the left. The funny thing about grifting to the left is that
not a lot of
it's not a particular,
not a lot of money in it.
See, this is the problem though. The fact that they're even laughing about the fact that like she could be grifting. It's not that she's even grifting by definition. It's that she is being embraced in the next group that will take her. She's not pulling away. She's not working on herself. She's looking for community in this sphere. And I'm saying that it might not be a grift, but it is something. It is something.
Let me be very clear too. I ousted myself from the right. I was very aware of the consequences of being honest. I knew I would be in a place where I was maybe in the place I've been most comfortable my whole life, being a nomad, and finding comfort in that spot.
This is all to say, like, I believe you.
I don't know what this means. She said being a nomad. If she, as a teenager, got into Republican bubbles and as an adult stayed there for 10 years, right? And then all of a sudden is in the liberal bubble now being like propped up. Like, so I'm not sure what she means by a nomad. Like, when were you ever a nomad?
And you could be a very convincing talker, but you have made a series of decisions that lead me to believe that your intentions are good.
Yeah, see, like, I don't know that. I don't see that she's made enough of an effort to know that her intentions are good, but I don't think she is evil either. Like, I don't think she's trying to be Trump or Elon. I don't think that's what this is, but I think it might not matter. What's that girl? What's that woman's name? The workout lady who has black children. She's a lesbian. When I found out she had black kids, I was just like, holy fuck. Because regardless of her being a lesbian with black children, she is absolutely siding with the most fucking racist people. Jillian Michaels, thank you. The most racist fucking people. Her content fucking sucks. I don't care about her good fucking intentions. At this point in 2026, like, talk about having a white mother. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of impact she will make for the long, and then that's somebody's mother, like somebody's real mother. Her kids probably love her, but that is somebody's real mother that they're going to have to contend with in their personal life, let alone their mother being a public figure, you know? So again, I'm not saying that Jillian Michaels is like because I think a lot of women in this space aren't as Machiavellian as the men. I do. I think patriarchy has trained us completely different. I think our upbringing are completely different. I think even as a girl myself, I tend to think that we're all here genuinely, which is a mistake. That's why the men in even liberal bubbles were like, oh, but you're doing this too, right? And I'm like, no, what are you doing? Here I am thinking we're all here truly, for real, only to find out that, like, oh my God, are you guys fucking playing a game? Yeah, so that's why I say, like, I think a lot of women are trapped in these bubbles, and they don't realize it till it's too late. And I'm saying you're still accountable for what you've been doing. I mean, these people are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. These women are in their 20s. Like, they're not 18 anymore. So they also have to be held accountable. And that's why I would love to see Ashley, like, really contend with the fact that, like, she is too damn old, and also to give herself grace to change. You got to do both, guys. You have to really recognize that you're this person in the story, and then you have to give yourself the grace to change. And you also have to be accurate with the way that you think of yourself, because I don't want you to beat yourself up unnecessarily. I don't want you to think like you're the worst person. I don't want you to self-harm. I want you to realize, like, oh my God, like, when I realized I was in a toxic relationship and I was being abused, I was like, oh my God, am I being abused? Like, am I in a bad relationship? It was like the weirdest realization of accepting that, like, oh my God. And then realizing that I had protected this person, realized that I had thought, oh, if this person just got therapy, like, it was really hard and embarrassing to be like, oh my God, I'm the girl in a relationship with a toxic guy. And oh my God, I keep staying. And oh my God, I keep trying to help him. Oh my God, I'm one of those girls. And then I had to realize, like, okay, I need to untrain this, because this is patriarchy training, that women will sacrifice themselves for the men in their life. But even more than that, it is also patriarchal training that women must only find themselves empowered by engaging in, like, back and forth rhetoric, like 1-2-1-2 rhetoric. Okay. And I'm worried that Ashley is going down that pipeline because that's all she knows. And this is all politics is. That's why you see Hassan, even though he's a quote leftist, which he is an anti-capitalist, which makes him a leftist, but he's not, he doesn't have embodied progressive values, right? He will engage in misogyny casually about women he just interviewed on you know what I mean? Because it's all about winning, I
mean, again, I can't speak to the entirety of the sacrifices I've made.
It would also be nice if they uplifted voices of former conservatives who are years away from it versus conservatives who were 3 months or a month out of it. It would do us much better in our communities. Honestly, I think I have much better insight into conservative thinking than she does. Because again, like, I'm dealing with real conservatives, like, as family members. A lot of us who have family members have better insight. Like, what is she teaching us that we already know about the Republican Party? We know. What has Ashley St. Clair told us about conservatives that we don't know? We know. We already know he's a fucking rapist in the White House. What else are you going to tell us, girly? We already know Elon's out here throwing Nazi salutes. We know. What are you going to tell us? So I feel like people who were and raised and engaged, who weren't on social media too, like, I really think, like, the most important Republican or conservative we need to be worried about are people who are not on social media. That's why I don't like Hassan uplifting that Republican, that Necessary Conversation podcast. Those people are clout chasing. They are not like, you need to talk to real conservatives, like real people, and understand how they get stuck in these bubbles, not fucking social media clout chasing Republicans, because those people are in it for money. To ask the poor person who doesn't even make money why they support Trump. Those are the people that we need to talk to. The thing is those people are watching these people, but these people are not going to change. You know what I'm saying? And so like, you know, you could say, oh, but she changed. She's changing, but see how you're still uplifting her? You're not, it's not the same thing. It's not, I don't think it's the same thing.
But it has not been easy, and I was very aware that it wouldn't be.
And I think just for myself too, just to be very
for context, they had a beef on Twitter at some point, so this is a very big deal that they're talking. And also I think there's a lot of humanity to be had here. You know what, this conversation would have been great in private. I think in private this conversation would have been great, because like, yeah, hey Ashley, we know you fucked up, we know you did stuff, thank you for being accountable. In public though, it's not good enough. The fact is they give her way too much credit in this podcast. Okay? It's still not good enough. You're too way fresh out of the oven. You know what I'm saying?
Honest, because back and forth leading up to this interview, you know, we've talked a little bit. In the back of my mind, I'm like, what if...
And yeah, chat, you're totally right. The reason I think people like this is because they feel like their family will come around or something that serves no purpose to me. That same thing with Necessary Podcast. Everyone was like, Hassan is changing her mind. Like the mom was like, we support Hassan against Trump. And Hassan's like, see? And everyone's like, oh my God, the mom's changing her mind. You guys are absolutely living out your family trauma through this. And that's why I say with my parents, I love them more than I love any of you. And I have an open relationship, open with boundaries relationship with them. It means that I do have to put my foot down with them because they're too damn old to not have changed by this point. Us holding our breath for our 65-year-old parents to finally change is absolutely certifiable. We go back to therapy. You have to accept the outcome. Radical acceptance. Accept your parents won't change and love them anyways, but have boundaries. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it does. See how it plays into politics? You see how it plays into politics? You're allowing your own family trauma to excuse the behavior of bad people. I used to do that too. I'm guilty too. Me too. I'm the first one to say I'm fucking guilty. I am also guilty of this. You've seen me do it in public with YouTubers. Oh man, he's just going through it, bro. My kid brother's like him, bro. He's going through it, you know. But well, he's going through it. At least my brothers aren't TikTokers. At least my brothers aren't public figures. At least my brothers aren't making millions of dollars. My brothers are doing it in private. You know what I'm saying? So it's a family issue. These men are on platforms. That's why I say, like, you can't give the same grace to public figures because they're not just your family members. They're in public. People can see them. People are being impacted. Millions of people, kids are being convinced to treat people badly because of them.
Like, you know, what if the intentions are bad? What if this is like an infiltration? Or I don't know. I kept going back and forth, but it was one of those things where it's like, it would be so much easier if there was any sort of bad intentions to just sort of sit down and sort of be in that sphere still and just sort of not talk, you know?
It also hurts me that you even have to consider that.
And I did, to be completely honest. I did at first.
Not
Of
like
course.
personally, but like in terms of like my broader impact of things that I've done. Like it just hurts me that anybody has to feel on edge when they receive an apology or like, and I contributed to that. And like, I am so sorry.
It's okay. And like I said, I do believe your intentions are good as well. It was just that at first I was like, oh.
I know. And that's a lot of people are going to feel that way. And again, like I get it. I get it.
It's a common story that you of course touched on here, is that like you don't understand or sort of switch your perspective on things until it happens to you. Because like from my perspective, for some context, I have been super politically minded and active since I was in high school. From a fairly early age, I realized I was bisexual, and then shortly after that I realized I was trans. So in the back of my mind, I was always like, and this was before gay marriage was legalized. This was when Fox News was bringing on pastors being like, the Bible says you can't have, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, you know, the classic bullshit. So like I saw this world around me, and you know, I tried to being the good.
Okay, so let's talk about it. You guys are like, oh, it's kind of nice that they're making up now. I think it's only nice at a distance. I don't think, like, I also, like, you know, the thing that just happened with Taylor Lorenz and stuff, where she came into my chat and was like, I'm so sorry. That was great. I really appreciated that. But she's like, oh, I really hear your feedback. I wish I had seen this before I made my video. Oops.
Yeah.
Hold on. But even though I say that, even though I'm willing to give her another chance, right? Let me just double check. The video is still called Debunking CNN's Viral 62 Million Man Hoax, right? The video is still titled Hoax. So even though Taylor said, oh my God, thank you. She came into my chat. We kissed. Versus other people that I've reached out to with the similar complaints, they were like, holy fuck, let me change my thumbnail. And I was like, thank you. Or they're like, oh my God, let me change my title. I have had other people go, oh my God, thank you for telling me, let me change my shit. But it's not funny that Taylor came in, wrote me this whole paragraph, made me go, oh, okay, maybe Taylor's gonna listen. Same title. What changed? Do you know what I mean? So again, like I open with boundaries.
Politically minded person that I am, the addicted, you could call me addicted to politics in a sense, but like, I would argue, I would talk to people I disagree with, and it's.
Chat says we don't have to forgive Ashley because Matt does. I mean, we don't have to forgive her at all. She didn't hurt me. Do you know what I mean? She hurt the queer community, but she didn't hurt me. So I don't have to forgive her. She didn't hurt me directly, but I will just say, like, that's what I'm saying. We don't know her. This girl is a stranger. Forgiveness is for people you know. It's not for fucking a stranger. So, like, I don't know her, but I will just say this. As a viewer, I don't have to support her work because that's what she's doing. She's working, right? And the point is that, like, you have to decide if you want to, engage with her work. And I'm like, no, I don't think she makes good content. And I don't think she's sending good messages out. I think the only way her content is good is if you compare it to a conservative. Do you know what I mean? So, Matt, and I believe this woman's name is Jane, them deciding to be this pathway for Ashley is like their business. If Jane felt personally impacted because they had beef on Twitter and she wants to forgive her, that's her business. That was between them. But like, she didn't do anything to me, so I don't have to forgive her for nothing. But I'm not holding on to anything either. So like, Ashley's going to be who Ashley is. I'll see where it goes. But I'm not interested in her content. I don't think it's good content. And I think it's not the best use of her time. And also, like, she's also not even progressive enough for me. It's not like she's a progressive now. You know what I mean? So I don't watch conservatives anyways.
Very rare that would change their minds. What would, of course, change people's minds is having something happen to them. I guess my question is, was there ever, like, when someone would talk to you, because I'm assuming you had a lot of these conversations, someone would be like, these politics that you support, these politics that you're talking about right now are materially harmful to people in my life, maybe even myself. Did that ever like it's something in the back of your head ever like twitch? Were you ever like, or did you just sort of like, you were in that ecosystem, you were in that sphere, you were sort of like, that's not important?
No, and I think that's why it's so important to have the conversations and still say it to people in a way that they can be receptive to, because even if I was initially defensive when people would say things like that to me, it was in the back of my head. And especially once I left it, I would revisit some of those conversations from people who had said, hey, the things you're saying are harmful, and revisit those and say, they were right. And I have to figure out how to make amends for that. And I'm very early on, too, in recognizing and deconstructing exactly.
Oh, see, deconstructing. Okay, girls, what happened? I feel like I wasn't hearing this word a lot everywhere, and now I'm hearing it everywhere. And I'm like, why are you guys using that word? Who told you that word? You know what I mean? Like, who taught you that word? Where'd you hear that word? Because deconstructing is not exactly a word conservatives know. So who taught it to you? Unless she's talking about Christian deconstruction. And then I'm like, were you even Christian? Do you know what I mean? Like, was she religious? Like, didn't she say she grew up secular? Or she a Christian? So does she know the word through Christianity? And I'm like, who taught you that word? So then I was confused, right? So Chad said, I learned it by watching you. Let's go. And, so again, like when we have this conversation, I'm like, what bubble taught you that word? And maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I believe her parents were divorced. They weren't very political. She then went to college, and then she found herself in the Republican club, and then Turning Point, and then all of a sudden she was with Charlie Kirk. So from my understanding of her background, like, so again, I like that she's using it, but then a part of me is like, wait, why are you using it?
Why I acted that way? and said the things I
Okay,
did. Like, it's,
sure.
and it's really painful to unpack that.
It is.
Especially probably.
And it is. And I don't want to dissuade that. I don't want to say that it's not painful to unpack it. But you guys, like, it's not, this is just the beginning. When you're unpacking conservatism, wait until you unpack liberalism. That's what I'm saying. Oh, girly, you're not going to be done for a long time. I'm still deconstructing every day, always. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why the reason Hassan is promoting or uplifting her, the reason I think people are uplifting her, a lot of liberals in this bubble are uplifting her, is because they're also done. Like, a lot of these liberals in these political spaces, even though they have good intentions, they're still liberals. And so I think that they don't even know, like, wait until you deconstruct the Democrat Party. Wait till you deconstruct, wait until you deconstruct, even white woman feminism. They haven't even started there. They still think white woman feminism is like, well, wait until you start deconstructing white woman feminism, girl. You know what I mean? So when she said, hold on, do I still have the TikTok up? Let me see if I still have it up. I think I do. This one. No. Do I still, this one.
Hi, I'm trying to be more feminist and not lose all self-respect when I am around men. So ladies, what do we do? How do we keep our self-respect after a man says, good girl? Good girl.
Making this TikTok with her kid in the background is hilarious too. The sound of her kid in the background. Gagged. Girl.
In front of multiple people.
In front of millions of people.
Yeah.
But I also think it's helpful.
Yeah, don't be around men. Decenter men. Exactly, chat. Don't be around men. Never talk to Hassan Piker again. I don't want to see that fucking disgusting man on your timeline ever again, girl. Stop talking to these men. Decenter men. Literally stop talking to these fucking boys. They don't care about you. They're using you for fucking a prop.
Even if I don't always say the right thing right now, that I hope people know that I am on a genuine journey to deconstruct what I was in and be responsible with the voice that I'm given now. So the least I can do right now is think out loud.
The least thing I can do right now is think out loud. So yes, but the dilemma with thinking out loud, and I do this too, is that you're going to think your bad thoughts out loud too. So be careful. Be careful not to think all of your thoughts out loud, because while you're deconstructing, you will have like, oh, is this the, no, that's wrong. Is this the thought? Because it does, that's why it takes an effort. And we don't need to hear all your inside thoughts though. So be careful about what you're posting.
Yeah. During your time as a right-wing influencer, you tweeted passionately about a lot of things. Sometimes you fixated on the queer community. You said that any person who opposes the Don't Say Gay bill looks like they need their search history checked. You can search my history. It's looking for new indie cat food brands.
It's probably it's
guys, I'm trying to keep it light here. Come on.
your search history is probably cleaner than Benny Johnson's. So.
Hey.
Yep.
You said of a family-friendly event that was taking place at the New York City LGBT Center that our tax dollars were hard at work grooming kids. You also said, I really was scrolling through your tweets, Ashley, you said on the night of the 2020 election, which famously took a very long time to call. You know what joke you made?
I do not. I don't know that I want to hear it.
Okay, so I actually like...
So this is her trying to be like, it's a shame, like she's feeling shame or something maybe, but she isn't taking responsibility in that moment. Like her being like, I don't know if that I want to hear it. It is just a normal reaction to embarrassment. Like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. But also like, say it. Like, I would love to see her go when she's ready, because she's newly on the journey, to say, oh my God, I know it's going to be embarrassing, but I deserve it. Do it. Tell me. What did I say? Fuck. Like, I want her eventually to, and this is why sometimes it's a private matter. Let me just say this. You don't owe the world your change. It's not for the world. I don't want Ashley to change for us. I want her to change for her. I want her to do it because it's the right thing to do. I don't want her to do it so we don't like her, or that we like her. I don't want her to do it for her kids either, by the way. I want her to do it for her. And so sometimes I think we all forget online, like so much of the work that you're going to do is going to be in private, as it should be. And then you will come back and people will see the difference. People will see the change, So I think this is part of the problem of bringing everything to the internet and this is why I say, like, if Hassan's working every day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, when does he have time to do anything? When does he actually have time to do anything? Because I don't get it. Like, I don't get why You know, just realistically. And also, if you're an anti-capitalist, why are you working 7 days a week when you don't have to? It just doesn't make sense, you know?
I liked this one, Ashley, so you can breathe easy.
I'm like holding my breath.
You wrote, the total gender count might hit 270 before Trump or Biden does.
I gotta be honest, not bad. That's not a bad joke. if you ever wanted to do some stand-up, that's like something to work with, you know?
If you weren't coming from the anti-trans angle there, like if we made that, frankly, like that's a very good joke.
Yeah.
Ashley doesn't know what to say.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I don't know. I was really stupid. I think there's probably also, I don't know if you've recognized this going through my tweets, and not to say that I didn't tweet horrific things, but I think there was at least a mild change in some of my posts after I had a child.
There was. You started to call into question publicly why there was so much fixation on trans issues around 2024, which was when you had your kid, I believe.
That was my second child.
That is what I noticed. And I think it was even before your second child, too.
Okay, I had my older son in November 2021.
With a different father.
Yes. After I had my first son, there was a shift, and it was kind of like, well, I'm in this. This is my career.
Oh my God, I thought they were saying Patel was her baby daddy. And I was like,
my first son, there was a shift, and it was kind of like, well, I'm in this. This is my career. I dropped out of college. What do you do from here?
I think the most notable...
Oof, rough. Yeah, there's something here about being one of the babes on the conservative side. Like not all the women are babes. Like only some of the women on the conservative side are like those specific kind of babes, right? And so she was one of those girls. And so the Republican Party was using her as like, look, we have pretty people too. And I think that's a part of the dilemma. You notice that they use that as like against leftists. Like leftists are so ugly. Look how ugly leftists are. And that's why you know it's wrong. And that's why I think Hasan is so annoying in a big way, because he is basically saying, no, we have hot people on our side too. And I'm like, what does this have to do with fucking anything? Can we please deconstruct the beauty standard? Who cares who's pretty or hot? Can we please all lock in? And that you can't, because that's the point of it. Even Hasan's fans will be obsessed with how he looks. That's why centering the way he looks is still just giving into patriarchy, right? And I'm saying like, we can't even escape it in our own fucking bubbles. You know, Fiona, welcome to memberships. Happy to have you here. Hello. So it's very fucking annoying. Look, I appreciate that when she had children, it changed her life. It should definitely change your perspective. I hope that she continues looking inward on her journey. And I also think like, even though she might be really and authentically going through something, I just think like, but where's it going to stop though? Like, I don't know how to tell you. And I know you know, okay? I know we know, but it's like she just figured out there's a boulder, and wait until she looks around the boulder and realizes there's a hill. Like, they're giving her credit. Like, she's not just like, she didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't just discover the boulder. We're at the very fucking beginning, and people keep platforming her like she's really like, what are we doing? If there are Democrats and literal liberal icons who have been activists for 30 years who still need to work on shit, you're giving this girl credit like she's fucking, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? And I think it's strategic. It's a political strategic move to say, look, we are open. If you can change, you're welcome. And I'm saying you're welcome over there with all the newbies who just started. That's where you're welcome, over there. You can come to, like, if I had a girl event for the femmes and the girlies, okay, and the gender fluid femmes, and I said, I'm having an event and she can come away from misogyny and men's bullshit, she could come and we would recognize, as she should, be a little fucking humble and recognize like where you are. Not in the hierarchy, because hierarchies are bullshit, but in the scheme of things, recognize that you still are in the work of making amends, okay? Because again, we're already in a bubble. We're already dealing with the fact that in these so-called leftist spaces, we're all arguing about ethics because people are willing to make excuses for people because like, oh, but look at the work they're doing. You know, with a short time on earth, God forbid we advocate for somebody who's actually embodying like a well-rounded belief system with flaws, of course. But I mean, you know what I mean? So again, I'm not saying it's hopeless. I don't want people to listen to me. And listen, I don't cater to a liberal audience. I don't feel like a lot of people who watch me are even liberal or more conservative than that. So I don't really feel like, that's the case. But I deal with enough liberals when they do get mad at me. I used to like Brittany's content, but she was so much more, open-minded. I'm not going to play games with you over like voting for certain people or having certain conversations or being mad at certain people. Like, again, it's all a construct. We're existing in these constructs, okay? And I'm saying it's interesting that so many activists have been in the work. That's what I'm saying about Hasan. He really collaborates with people who are cloud associated. He's willing to collab with anyone, even though there's people on the internet, if he knows it will bring him views. So for him to sit here and say like, teehee, I don't even know why Elon knows who I am. Come on now. Don't, Okay, her TikTok.
When he hit my DM, it's always at 10:30 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to get copyrighted. A source close to Elon tells TMZ this is total nonsense. The laser sky thing is just three-dimensional chess metaphor, which she doesn't, what is this? Probably doesn't, I can't even, is unfounded. But then she proved that they were real and that he did text her about the lasers in the sky, okay? So, like, that's the kind of content we're doing, right? And I'm just saying, like, Okay, back to the pod.
Like when someone would talk to you, I'm assuming you had a lot of these conversations.
Sorry, let me take it off 1.2.
Someone would be like, these politics that you support, these politics that you're talking about right now are materially harmful to people in my life, maybe even myself. Did that ever like it's something in the back of your head ever like twitch? Were you ever like, or did you just sort of like, you were in that ecosystem, you were in that sphere, you were sort of like, that's not important?
No, and I
also, let's clarify some words right now, right? Chet said her TikTok feels like, I don't know, pick me leftism. It's pick me liberalism. She's not a leftist. She is not an anti-capitalist. Okay, that's why. So let's just get our terminologies down right now. She is still deconstructing pick-meism, which she said, but she's a liberal, not a leftist. Okay, most of the people in the political space are not anti-capitalist. That's why the Democrats fucking suck, because they're still upholding. They still think the system just needs to be fixed. The system needs to be dismantled. The system is wrong, right? So let's start there. The reason that for the leftist anti-capitalist, like that's what I'm saying. If you're on a political journey, if you're on a philosophical journey and you're on the other side and you're looking at, again, that whole Chelsea Fagan critique of like, I asked over on my Bert Simon channel, like name some rich people that are moral. And someone's like, oh, well, Chelsea Fagan just bought a house for good reasons. And like, she's going to supply artists. And I'm like, I have criticism of that too. Because what do you mean you're buying a second home and then writing it off as a charity in order to, quote, justify the expense of $1 million home in a place where people are begging people not to buy homes just to make them vacation homes? You know what I mean? So, like, I hear you and I get it, but this is liberal values over leftist values. Leftists, they buy co-ops, not second family homes. Do you know what I'm saying? And even Bai is doing a lot of heavy lifting. So like, I want to definitely encourage us, and I get it. Sometimes I use them interchangeably too, chat. So don't worry about it. I see you. But, for the sake of what we're being clear about, because I know people hear me and they go, I don't get it. Because if I was a liberal, she'd be good enough. But I'm not a liberal anymore. So I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so happy for your journey, but you know what I mean? Like, I can't. You're still an unsafe player because, like, let's not even talk about the racism and possible anti-blackness, anti-immigrant, you know what I'm saying? So again, like, I appreciate that she's using her platform for, quote, liberal politics, but still not good enough.
I think that's why it's so important to have the conversations and still say it to people in a way that they can be receptive to, because even if I was initially defensive when people would say things like that to me, it was in the back of my head. And especially once I left it, I would revisit some of those conversations from people who had said, hey, the things you're saying are harmful.
Chat said, what this makes me wonder, did she reach out to the leftists? And if so, why instead of liberals? Well, first of all, nobody knows the difference. And second of all, Hasan reached out to her. She did not reach out to Hasan. According to Hasan, he said, the reason I reached out to you is, I'm assuming Matt also reached out to her as well, or maybe not. But I don't know that she is sliding into anyone's DMs. Elon slid into her DMs. Hasan slid into her DMs. I don't know if Matt slid into her DMs for this interview, but I will just say, like, they are chasing her. And I don't think she knows the difference between liberals and leftists. I mean, I don't even think people know the difference in general. So I don't think she's making a conscious decision.
And revisit those and say, they were right. And I have to figure out how to make amends for that. And I'm very early on too in recognizing and deconstructing exactly why I acted that way and said the things I did. Like it's really painful to unpack that.
Okay. Now, wait, did I do this one? No, this one. Okay.
Stop watching Clavicular. I hate that this man is so funny and he's unintentionally coming into my vernacular and like my stimming. I'm going, you know, my cortisol's spiking, And this man he was being interviewed by Jack Mack from Barstool. And Collab tells men to like wear inserts into their shoes, like heels if they're short, to height max, to height mog. And Jack Mack was like, well, what are you gonna do once you get undressed? And then the gig is up that you're a short king. This man, Collab says, well, you can pull your pants down so that they sag and they cover your feet, and then you can tiptoe max. Are we all being pranked? Like, what is happening?
Okay. Hold on, let me do this. Okay, next time stamp.
And someone who's respected. And
by the way, I think we've all liked problematic men of the internet where we're like, oh my God, they're so funny. I've done that too. But that's what I mean. I used to do that. And then I was like, hey, I'm not even going to play with you or even give you any laughs. That's why I don't give Hassan laughs. Because I used to look at boys and be like, he's funny. Like, I get it's a joke. Nah, I'm over it. Not when we're being serious. Okay, not when we're being serious anymore, which by the way, is why I've made that effort to change, because I understand, like, even if in private, you're like, fuck, that's funny, but damn, you know, in public, nah. At work, nah. Like, we have to be serious about setting up. Kids are watching you.
Then, you know, you get a podcast deal or a book deal. And that is kind of an opportunity for you to solidify yourself as, hey, take me seriously. Look, other people take me seriously.
Okay, don't troll chat. I will block you. You said Hassan is largest source of misogyny in America, for sure. You're obviously trolling. I can see your fucking comment history. And I can see that you've also been a little troll in the past, okay? This sounds a lot like purity testing. He's attending, but like, okay, would you like to fucking correct yourself in my chat? Don't troll me today, okay? Come on now.
I have deals. But again, I don't really have much to say on it except it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And
You said I was being tongue-in-cheek. Guys, use tone indicators. Use tone indicators, bros. You don't know what it's like to be up here and read comments. You don't know who you're being like trolled by. You said I apologize? Okay. Then I forgive you. I forgive you. Forgive me now for jumping the gun.
Taken steps so that my name isn't on it. And when the opportunity arises, I do plan on making financial amends because I did make money off of this. And that's it. And I can't unring that bell. But I can try my best.
What I will
First of all, there's a cat in the background on the corner counter here, and Indiana would never. Absolutely not. Indiana Jones would never. Okay, absolutely not. Right next to the open food and vegetables, absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not.
Try my best.
What I will say.
Listen, like, I'm not saying that she isn't trying her best. I'm saying just like the boyfriend who tells you he's trying his best, but he still leaves the socks on the floor and then flirts with other girls on the internet. Like, you know what I mean? There is a time and a place for sure. But I don't think we need to act like she's the best thing that happened since sliced cheese. And we have to think about that.
Is I think taking your name off of the publishing for the book is
That's
definitely
good.
a step. Though.
That is a step.
That is a good step
That is a
away
step.
from, I think, the impact that this book did have. It of course will always have that impact it did have, which is really unfortunate.
And I can't unwrite the book. You know, I can't take it off the shelves.
Like legally or business contract wise, you're not able to do that. Yeah. Speaking of the impact that the book has had on parents, because this to me, and I'm sure to June, like we were.
Oh, June. I said Jane. I'm sorry, June. I called her June.
Kids who had to grow up with parents who, when you're queer, it's an uphill battle inside your own family.
It is. You have to hide things. I mean, I had to hide things. I had to hide aspects of myself because I wasn't
Absolutely.
sure. I wasn't comfortable. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I want to stress Ashley. Oh, Ashley's cat is in
Cutie
the mix.
patootie.
Okay, I have to ask. Most important question. What's your cat's name?
This one is Leno. My son named him. I was like, Leno, like Jay? What do you mean?
Jay?
And the other one's name is George. I don't know where George is.
Oh, well, welcome, Leno. And if you get uncomfortable with any of our questions, you can pass the questions off to Leno, I suppose. So I want to stress that I'm not asking this as a gotcha.
Yeah.
Or because I have a fetish for making you feel uncomfortable or anything. I really don't.
Understandable if you do.
No, Ashley, you know that I don't. I'm so glad that you've grown, obviously, a lot in your thinking about this. But in getting ready for the episode, I was asking myself what meaningful accountability looks like,
Okay, here we go.
One thing I think we need to do is grapple with the impact that this book had on parents of queer kids, like June and I. So I wanted to read a few Amazon reviews of the book, almost all of which are very positive. And here are a couple from Desk Mouse. Review title line: "This kicks Dr. Seuss's ass," which is high praise for your writing, Ashley. I'll give you that. Seriously, as a dad who wants his children to grow up right, this book was right my alley. Great job on the story and the visuals. Patriots at Brave Books, you are giving our next generation the tools so long desired by parents in the new right. From Dragon, cute and covert. I bought this book hoping to covertly guide my kids. Things are complicated in this family.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
From CCE, modern day truth in all caps. Love this book and all the other ones that go right along with helping us teach children true facts. From an unnamed Amazon customer, absolutely lovely book. I bought this as an adult and I love it. That's fucking weird. And Ashley, I don't hold you to that one.
But no, there's some odd reviews all talking about this is a covert battle against evil.
I think some of these are, the same people who were coming up to me and saying, good job, soldier.
But can I ask you, in plain terms, you've participated in and profited off a cycle of bigotry that queer people are often tasked with breaking in their own families. Now you have your own kids and queer people in your extended family.
Can I just say something? I remember I was at a conference many years ago because I was trying to engage in politics. And I was a moderator for debates on panels. I did a horrible job, but thank you. Okay, I was very nervous. I realized I do not like to being on stage. That was my realization for myself. Okay. And Blair White was there, and Blair White was very nice to me. We got along really well. Okay. And I remember thinking, maybe Blair will change. Oh my gosh, I would really love for her to be a better person because she was so nice. It has been a decade. And Blair is just the same old conservative fucking content creator pushing bullshit agendas. She hasn't changed an iota, not an inch. Blair is literally the same. She's doubled down harder. All of that good faith, all of that hope I had for her was really for me. And so now I say to you, I am optimistic always, and I'm not going to hold my breath, right? But as a person who's interacted with a lot of these people, as a person who collaborated with Natalie Wynn, was in Natalie's house, same thing with Natalie. I was like, maybe Natalie will. We had some really uncomfortable conversations during that time where I was like, girly, you got to unpack this. And look, all these years later, nothing has changed. And so what I'm saying is as a girly who's been there, who's talked to people, it is amazing to me how much people do not change. So I no longer wait around. The only thing I can do is work on myself. The only thing I can do is make sure that I change. Because if I spend all this time worrying about them changing, I'm never going to work on myself. And that's why Hassan justifies not getting therapy. Oh, I'm busy fighting the good fight. Oh, I can't work on myself right now. I'm impacting so many people's lives. I'm changing so many people's minds. Yeah, but you're neglecting yourself. And that's going to do more harm in the long run. Which is why Natalie in the long run has done more harm. Right, Blair White in the long run has done more harm. Where I guarantee you in the long run, Hassan will do more harm than he is doing. Good he is doing. I guarantee you this man will do more harm. We saw that with the way that he was misogynistic and sexist and made jokes on Ashley's behalf or at Ashley right after he collabed with her.
And I'm really curious on a very human level, what would you say, if you could, to the parents that you influenced with this book or parents, in that world?
I was no point of authority to be speaking on this issue, and I hope that they take a similar journey to me, to listening to voices that they have been told are off limits. And I hope that they teach kindness and acceptance to their children. And I hope that they find kindness and acceptance in their own hearts.
And by the way, that's not to say that I wouldn't believe Blair White if she changed. I would. If Blair White really changed, I'd be like, dope. Wow, took you long enough, but I'm here for it. If people genuinely change, I love that. But statistically, people don't. That's why it's kind of amazing to be a person who's changed. That's why it's kind of an amazing feeling to see people you haven't seen in 20 years and for them to be like, holy crap, you are like such a different person than the person I knew. Thank you. Because most people aren't. So give yourself some credit for those of you who have truly changed and worked on yourself, because it is kind of rare. It's not that you're exceptional or special. It's just that you did the work and you deserve a pat on the back for that, but never stop. Don't ever stop though, because then you'll just be back where you were. You'll be stagnant again. So don't ever stop.
For their own children. And I'm not quite sure how to make amends. I've gone back and forth privately, publicly on what the right way to do that is. Even just speaking out has cost me much more than any money I made on that book.
So see how she's talking about apology and doing right by people, and then she turns it around and talks about her pain? She's not ready to make a real apology. My therapist taught me, okay, when I was in therapy, and I'll answer your questions, Chad, I see you. My therapist taught me that I needed to go apologize to everybody that I hurt without talking about my own pain. And I said, but those people hurt me. Those people they really hurt me. My parents hurt me being a queer kid. And she said, go apologize to them for any way that you hurt them based off your values. And then that's it. No ands, buts, explanations. Just say, you remember that time I yelled at you? I'm really sorry that I did that. Say it just like that. No follow through. No and. And I did. I went to my parents and I said, hey, I'm sorry for the time that I yelled and slammed doors and was upset. And that's not the kind of person that I want to be. And I'm sorry that I treated you that way. And my parents were like, oh, that's okay, Betsy. Don't worry about it. And I said, no, I need you to let me apologize because it does matter. And I don't want to be that kind of a person. And you have to, like, you can't just say, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter. And so on the same front, the person who's receiving the apology can't just say, oh, it doesn't matter. Because my parents do this. My parents do this thing when their kids genuinely apologize. My parents go, oh, it doesn't matter. But then they'll use it against you later. Or they'll not really allow the forgiveness to happen. Or they won't allow it to become closed. They won't allow it because then they would have to do the same thing. They would have to do the same thing. They would have to learn how to receive your apology and then to give it. So it's a very important relationship dynamic that you will let people apologize, because it's important. Okay. Now, chat said, when establishing our values, how do we make sure we don't add too many to the point where it becomes overwhelming? Well, that's a great question, because your values are the foundation for your ethics and morals. So you have to build it off key values, okay, that help you build your foundation into your values, okay, your ethics and your morals, right? Okay, or actually I think you should do it reverse because, okay, so if you've never seen me do this, your values inform your morals. Okay, I think lying is bad, so therefore I do not lie. I think lying is bad, so therefore I think as a society we should encourage people not to lie. Morals are for what you do, ethics are for what we do as a community. Values are the thing, the X, that we decide is bad or good. And then we build a rule around what we think is good or bad. And then we try to implement it into society in a way that makes sense for everybody, even when we have different morals. So we don't all have to have the same morals, okay? But we have to build a society based off of a generalized understanding of those morals in balance, okay? So don't overwhelm yourself. So focus on building a good foundation for those values that then allow you to act a certain way. So my values about transparency and moving away from bigotry and radical love and mitigating violence then inform my moral stances on what I consume and how I engage with people and how I mitigate harm, right? And then what I would encourage society to do if I was to make a prescription or / encouraging people in my community to do, because again, I don't believe in objective morality. I don't think there's an objective good or bad or wrong or right. I think it's all subjective based off of our biological experience and our perception of our perceptions. So when I say this is Britney's, this is what I think is right or wrong, it's very subjective. I think the problem is in this space and in these conversations, people are claiming to know the objective truth. They think they have free will, they're making choices. And then they look at Ashley and they go, what do you want her to do? Everything and nothing. I want her to do nothing. I don't care what Ashley does. I don't care what anybody does. Because you're going to do it anyways, right? I care what I do. And if you come to me and ask my advice, I will give it to you. But I don't try to control other people. You make a decision. But I will always make clear my position, what I think about this. Because that's what I assume you'll come here to watch, right? Okay? Chet says, how do you then speak of ethics if values are subjective? Because, ethics are subjective. Ethics and morals are subjective. I mean, you could make the philosophical argument that there's an objective morality, but then where are you gaining that objective morality from? So if you're a Christian, you would probably say God, but like, what God, right? It's still a subjective experience of belief in God that then allows you to argue for objective morality, but it makes it subjective at that point. So, I love ethics because they're a subjective experience, their relationship. Like ethics is about relationship too. Morals are about relationship too. So your ethics, okay, you know how we talk about introspection, extrospection? Okay, ethics and morals are your introspection, your relationship with self, and ethics are your relationship with everything outside of yourself, others. Everything is about relationship too. So we build, that's why, when people take stances about like right or wrong, it's about building relationship too. That's why I will never throw Hassan under the bus for things I don't think he's guilty for. But I will also hold him accountable based off of my opinion, right? My subjective experience, right? Chad said, wait, is there a such thing as a good values and bad values? In my opinion, yes. Right? In my opinion, yes, I think there is such a thing as bad values. But it's based off of my perception and my relationship with what I call bad. Do I think, because I think, guys, I think we're evolved animals on a planet. I believe in evolution. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in spirits. I think we're animals on a planet. We're biological creatures. I think we're like the dog, like the bear, like the tree, like the rock, like we exist here. And thanks to our biological experience, we can have a deeper relationship with our actions, but we're still at the mercy of our biological experience. And we're still only given so many options for choice. So the way to get more choice is to introspect and have a deeper relationship with that experience. I know I'm not an atheist YouTuber, but I'm an atheist, right? Like I believe that we're evolved on a planet. So then we have to engage with our biological reality as what it is, not through a bioessentialism lens, but through a radical acceptance of our limitations. And then we need to decide what we want to do with that. So if Brittany, as an example, I want to mitigate how much violence I engage in personally. So I'm plant-based, okay? I don't eat animal products. I buy cruelty-free as much as I can. Obviously, sometimes it's very fucking hard because I don't have a lot of money. So I have to pick and choose how I spend that money. No ethical consumption under capitalism is for literally people financially struggling. And at the end of the day, though I make good money, I don't make enough money to actually like always get everything perfect, but I try. Shampoo bottles, everything that I use in terms of lotions that have at least the title vegan on them, because I didn't need to be directly responsible for this level of violence. Like I enjoy food just as much if it's vegan or plant-based or meat, non. So that's a personal value, mitigate harm, violence, bring it into my moral relationship with like, oh yeah, I think it's immoral for Brittany to eat animals. So then I do that. Now in terms of ethics, instead of saying I think it's good if nobody eats animals, right now on my journey, I say it would be better if we didn't. And it would be better for society if we didn't eat animals on every front. Health, for the planet, environmental, for the animals themselves. Like it would literally be better. So that's how I think about it. That's how I go through the pyramid, right?
Materially, monetarily. What I'm most looking for is voices within the communities that I hurt to tell me how I can make amends or what would be helpful, because I don't know how to be helpful. For many years, I have obviously not seen reality.
I can see why people liked this interview of her because it's grounded in serious, but her TikTok isn't. The work she creates as a creative is not serious. This is, again, the Hassan dilemma, the Nick Fuentes dilemma, the Charlie Kirk dilemma, depending on how you, even the Chelsea Fagan dilemma. People who watch Chelsea Fagan only watch her YouTube channel, but I watch her TikToks. Okay, people who watch Ashley are only going to watch her on this podcast. They're not going to watch her TikToks. People who watch Charlie Kirk, some people only watch his YouTube channel. Some people only watch his shorts. Some people only watched him when he was collabing on Fox News. Like, that's why old conservatives think Nick Fuentes is a stand-up gentleman, because they've only seen him off stream. They don't know him online as the troll that he is. So that's why I say to you, like, don't fall for this trap as well. If you are on the left in any capacity on the left, don't say, oh, well, I saw Ashley on Matt's podcast and this is the whole picture of who Ashley is. No, this is only one version of her. Make sure you go watch her content. Make sure you go watch her interviews. Make sure you watch how she conducts herself, because she's not just this person. And that's what people said to me in my original commentary on her. They're like, you're being so unfair to her. Watch her on this podcast. Like, she's like so much better than you think she is. But she's also this girl here.
I thought I was free.
It says, went to another country and the Uber I called was a Tesla.
He texted me again. Release me!
Like, I get it. She's making funny TikToks, la, la, la. But come on, still, you know, are you going to make amends to the trans community you hurt by being a comedian or by being an activist? You know what I'm saying?
Were coming up to me and saying, you know, good job, sold.
Oh, okay. We already watched that. Okay, so back to just like a reminder of what she posted yesterday.
Ready with me while I talk. Get ready with me while I talk about how MAGA said I'm an unfit mother and should lose custody of my children after I was on a stream with Hassan Piker, and then Hassan got subpoenaed.
Okay, right? Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's still the content she's making. At the end of the day, that's still the content she's making. Okay? So let's do this timestamp towards the end of the interview. We're almost done. We're wrapping up.
There's times where I'm going to feel like I'm disjointed or I'm trying to collect thoughts, and it's because I am. Like, this is still very new for me to unpack a lot of the things that I've been a part of and recognize and take accountability.
Yeah, and great point that there's a child involved in this, and at the end of the day, like, that child's father is Elon Musk, and they'll have to deal with that forever. You know? I think that's important.
And I just hope that a few years from now I can help make a difference in a way that's impactful. And anything you guys need, I'm here. I hope that it's in the end a net positive.
Personally, I think so. Like, especially in the moment that we're in 2026 with Donald Trump, with what I think is very clearly a fascist state at this current point.
Definitely.
For a while, I've been thinking back to like 2016, where, and I think I, of course, engaged in this at the time. There's all that hesitation to be like, you voted for Trump once, you're always going to be bad. And I think, you know.
And for the record, I've never believed that. I have never bought into this idea that if you voted for Trump, you're lost. I've never bought into that. I think that's absolutely bullshit. And I think that's philosophically evil to think that people can't change. And it doesn't mean that people will. Do we understand? It's a contradictory but reasonable thought. I think everyone can change. I don't think most people will. But I do think you can. I just think you won't. And that's something I had to accept about the world, that I do think you can, but I don't think you will. And that's okay. Like, I mean, that's okay for you. You as the individual have to be okay with it, because the truth is, like, you don't have a choice. You weren't asked to be here. You exist whether you like it or not. And you have to make a decision to accept it, because you can't wait for 8 billion people to figure their shit out to live your life. So be good to your community. Don't be selfish. Be good. Be a good person. And accept that, like, they all got to make their own decisions just like you did. So don't harbor bitterness and anger. Be angry for the world so you feed people, not angry at the world. Don't shoot up schools, right? These men, all these people that are so angry at the world, look at them bombing countries and shooting people up and doing all these things. Be angry for the world. Be an activist. Feed your people. Love your community, right? And this is the point that I want to get to, is like, I want people to have the hope, but be realistic, and be excited when people change. But don't center your life on it. Your life has to move forward, whether the world does or not.
If we're going to get out of this, basically, I think there should be room to have these conversations and reflect. And I think there needs to be more intention if we want to get out of this fucking mess. You know, like we need to have these conversations with people like you that were in this.
Yeah, and we're going to a point where it's going to be very hard to turn this back around. And people need to recognize: are you the party that hates government overreach or not? You know, all of a sudden now you guys are bowing down and bootlicking feds and saying this is all okay and saying it's okay that we don't release the Epstein files. And I hope they.
Okay, the liberalism of this all is very nauseating to me. And I will just say, like, girlies, this is liberal propaganda, okay? This might as well be cop propaganda. So let's say life was linear. It's not, okay? And you've got the Republicans, the conservatives, and you've got the 1940s white America racism, okay? And then you have the 2008 Barack Obama gets elected, okay, liberalism America, and gay marriage is on the ballot, and you're kind of feeling like, okay, maybe we even have gay marriage happen, okay? And we're like, oh my God, we're moving forward. And then 2016 happens, and it's like, oh fuck, we're going downhill. But she's like, oh my God, we're not going to be able to turn this around. Turn it around where? To the 1940s? Fuck turning it around, baby, straight through. Fuck turning it around. We're not turning anything around. We are driving straight through. This obsession with going back, that's still MAGA propaganda in her head. See? Make America great again. We're not going back. Fuck going back. We are only going forward. And this instinct from her, this instinct from everyone to say we got to go back to what? Straight fucking forward, always and forever.
You're so mature for your age, babe. No, you're not. No, you are not. That man is lying to you. That man is a predator, and that man does not date women his own age because women his own age know that he's full of shit. And I promise you, as a young girl who has dated older men, you will get older. And you will look at girls who are your age now, 19, 20, and you will realize that you were a child, okay? You're not mature for your age.
Okay, best piece of content she put out so far is this video. Now, if you look at her retweets, these are her retweets, okay? Generally, I would say, like, you know, liberal, you know, there's like some good here, da-da-da-da. You know, there's something here, but also, oh look, oh my God, hello. Like, okay, like there's some good people in this timeline. So I'm excited for that, okay? I see a lot of good faces here, right? I see a lot of good people here, so I like that. And it's not enough, okay? She also retweeted this.
Elon Musk is no longer following Ian Miles because he posted Ashley St. Clair is now trying to smash Hassan Piker, third baby.
Like, I get it. It's funny, but like also, you know, and I get it. So
be on the way, I guess.
I'm here for the redemption arc. I just think also, okay, so I'm just going to wrap this up. I'm happy she's changing. I hope she continues to change. And if on a spectrum, I'm sorry, I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to draw it out. Okay. If from the position I'm in the bubble I am in, okay, if Ashley is here, okay, and Hassan is here, okay, and I am here, can you see why I am not? I'm like, okay, and everyone's like, oh my God, Brittany, girl, she's still all the way over here. And I'm still annoyed with Hassan for being over there. You know what I mean? I'm still thinking what the fuck are you doing over there, bro? Okay. And we're all the way over here. Do you know what I'm saying? Excuse us while we wait for you to catch up. But girly, we're not going to go back on our pathway to bring you over. The path is lit. She can follow it or not, but we don't need to go backwards to pull her forwards. We've lit the path. You know where to go. When you catch up, we'll welcome you. But until then, okay, this has nothing to do with me. I do not care about this woman and I do not care for the way that she's being platformed because there were so many leftist, amazing activist voices that should have had that microphone spot instead. And you gave it to this white woman. And this is the privilege. Let's talk about the intersectionality of white supremacy rearing its head. Because there's no other way that this story could have gone if she wasn't a white woman. Of course it went this way. Of course she did the absolute bare fucking minimum and everyone praised her like she was fucking... Okay? All right. That's why I think it's also kind of gross. Like, as much as she's trying to uplift like black voices in her rhetoric, it's interesting that Hassan didn't give that microphone to somebody else. Because she's willing to take the spot is what I'm trying to say. That's also the important thing is like, When given an opportunity, who am I taking it away from? Is always the question. And I'm not saying like white women can never have a spot with the microphone. I'm saying I would love to see Ashley hang out with more women. But like, no offense, given that Elon Musk was her ex and she was with the Trump administration, what group of black women am I supposed to subject to Ashley to? Like Ashley Sinclair to? Like, what group of my black and brown friends am I supposed to go to and be like, hey, can Ashley come? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to advocate for Ashley to come. Like Hassan can. That's what Hassan just did. Hassan just said, hey guys, let's be nice to Ashley. And I said, I'll be nice to her. I'll be kind to her. I'll feed and clothe and advocate for her children to get schooling. But she can't come hang out with us yet. Damn, bro. That easy? That's all she had to do? Well, at that point, you might as well have Destiny back in the group. Maybe not now that we know that he's an awful thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, is that all that it's going to take? It just feels crazy to ask people to be like, hey, this girl, like, she was an absolute, like, fascist 2 weeks ago, but, like, she changed. I mean, I guess. Like, I don't know. That's crazy to me, right? Lizzie Chat says, do you think that is a conscious choice or a blind ignorance on his part? Like, did he pick her because he knew his fans would be okay with her? I think he picked her because she's viral. I think he picked her because the views are good. I think he picked her because it was a good business move. It was a good stream move. I think every single person that has collabed with Ashley St. Clair is doing it because it brought views into their podcast. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's more than that. I think they thought it was strategic. It was good politically because they're trying to get more voters, right? So they are trying to appeal to the Republican that's so disenfranchised away from Trump, who's so frustrated, who's struggling with these new gas prices. And they're trying to say, like, look, we're so nice to one of your girlies. We can welcome you too. It was a political strategic move. It wasn't a philosophically sound one. That's what I'm saying. Politics is about winning, period. That's it. Politics is about winning. It is about strategy. It's about building coalition with people, even bad people. That's why, you know, again, like this whole class consciousness against capitalism is asking black people, it's asking gay people and trans people. That's why they go, oh, you and your identity politics. Like, yeah, when liberals do identity politics, it's bullshit. But when leftists do identity politics, it's not identity politics. It's our real goddamn life. It's my fucking life. You know, you're sitting here talking about you care about my life, then why is it being thrown under the bus to make room for these fucking people? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point of this? That's why we say with Hassan reaching prominence, he didn't turn around and use it for radical justice. Again, it's the Taylor Swift problem. Taylor Swift was supposed to be one of the good ones, rose to prominence and said, bye bitches, fuck you. And then we just went, okay. What was the point of becoming a billionaire if you weren't going to do anything with it? Because it was never about doing something with it. No matter how famous or popular Hassan gets, the most he ever gives us is Taylor Swift. That's why he sits on podcasts with Cutie Cinderella and they talk about Taylor Swift. That's why in his literal other work, okay, he is hanging out with boys and talking about women like they're fucking objects. Because it's just about different, you know what I mean? That's why even him collaborating with Ethan Klein at the time, right? Not doing his due diligence to think about it. You know how much Ethan was paying him a bag. I mean, he was paying him a bag. You know what I mean? And like that was good for his fame. Hassan truly got on my radar because of Leftovers. Like truly. I mean, I knew about him through the Destiny Sphere and I didn't know very good things about him and I didn't think very well of him. And then I was like, okay, I'll give him a chance. And I was like, oh, okay, he's okay. And then I was like, oh, I kind of like him on Leftovers. And then like, that's what I'm saying. Like as much as we think Hassan has always been on the map, Hassan has absolutely clout chased his way to the top. And why wouldn't he? That's what he wants to do. If I was trying to get famous, I would have done the same thing Hassan did. Oh my God. If I was trying to get famous, when Destiny burned the bridge with me, I would have ridden that shit for 2 years, made a shit ton of money. Every video for a year would have been about Destiny. Every video would have been like receipts, collabing with everyone in Destiny's orbit. If my goal was to be famous, I would have emailed Hassan. I would have said, I have receipts on Lauren Southern. I would have done all of these things, which is why when I see Hassan going, let me see the text messages, that would have been equal to me reaching out to Hassan and saying, I know about Lauren Southern. But instead, it was a very serious matter between, you know, the situation that was happening, and I didn't treat it like an opportunity. You know, oh my God, you know how much I could have turned that around and made that a whole thing. But I didn't think it would be ethical because it's very serious, you know? So again, I'm saying if I wanted to be famous and popular, I got to turn this around. It's not that hard, guys. Like Sneeko and Fuentes and Hassan, they've done it in front of us. You know what to do. That's why Clavicular is popular. It's so easy to be famous. Do you want to do what it takes to be famous? Can you live with yourself if you do what it takes to be famous? Can you live with yourself? Because I can't. I could never. That's what Louis Theroux asked Tiki Taki, you know, like, do you think you're a good person, basically? And Tiki Taki said, like, if I was a good person, I'd never be this famous or rich. Exactly. You should question every single person who's rose to fame and popularity, and you should ask how they got there. Not everybody you know has had to do these tactics, though. And that's what I look for. So what I do then, okay, I look to the people I respect, and I say, how did they become prominent, but not this? And then I want to take their route. Long years of consistent work, educating yourself, sticking towards your values, making sure you make change, and being okay not being filthy rich. Because that was never the point anyways. You know? So that's what I do. I look at, you know, the people I really respect, philosophers, women in the space, and I go, what did they do? And I go, okay, I'm going to do that. And that's what I'm doing. You're going to watch it unfold in front of you. That's what I'm doing. And I think it's the right decision, and I'm really happy with it. And look, I make a full-time living doing this, and I get to sleep at night. I did it. I get to say, like, I did it. So when Ashley St. Clair says, oh, I didn't want to sell out because I didn't want to take that NDA because he offered me a bunch of money. Yeah, maybe that wasn't her version of selling out, but my version of selling out would have been years and years ago when she decided to work with Charlie Kirk and all those other people, because I too was in the same position and given an opportunity similar to hers. And I said, I'm not going to fucking do this. I'm not going to sell out. So maybe it was my privilege of honestly being like more philosophy focused. Maybe I was just better educated than her. You know, she talks about being a homeschooler in high school. I was homeschooled my whole life. I only had a few years of public high school. So when I was given the opportunity to grift for the right, I was like, no. And that was it. Signed up to be a Democrat the next day, moved on with my fucking life. You know what I mean? She didn't do that. She got into those bubbles, became a girl in those bubbles, wrote those signs, and enacted with, you know what I mean? She didn't do that. And maybe my privilege was being well read. I mean, I'd read thousands of books by that point. So maybe that was my privilege. And then I was being philosophically challenged by the people in my life. So it was easier for me to leave my upbringing, my conservative upbringing, a lot faster, because I was always going to be that girly, though. I was always going to be the girly to do it, because I'm always changing with new information. That's what I'm saying about Hassan. He's so stunted because he's not really curious. He's not really looking for new information. What are you going to do, you know? All right, that's all I had planned for you guys today. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. I will see you guys again tomorrow. You know, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, Chet says you have a strong, hold on. One more challenge to myself. You said you have strong morals. Not everyone has it. I get it. But even with my strong morality, I still spent about a year in the destiny sphere. Why did I do that? I should have known better. Why didn't I know better? And that's what I had to realize. How the fuck did I fall? How did I believe he was a good person? Okay, so then I went and I did my due diligence after. I said, okay, Brittany, what was it that you fell for? Branding. People told me things about him. And I realized, like, okay, I have to watch out for this in the future, because it was too easy for me to believe, oh, because he was queer or allegedly, you know, left and all of these other things, I could just trust him, right? So then I had to be like, no, you should be cynical of every single person you meet, but not cynical like in the atheist way, like cynical, like realistic. Like, hey, what do you mean by that? When you say you're left, what do you mean by that? Oh, when you say you don't believe in bigotry, what do you mean by that? When you say you respect women, what do you mean by that? Instead of taking it for granted. So I too will always have to watch myself, because that's why I'm hesitant around Hassan as well, because I think to myself, well, how did you get there? And then you look at his track record and you go, okay. Like, it's not good enough. Now imagine, okay, I'll just tell you this one last thought I was having. Imagine if Michael Burns or FD Signifier talked about women the way we just watched Hassan talk about women. I couldn't even imagine. Now, to be fair, they're grown, they're in their 40s, and they have children, they're dads. But just imagine it. Imagine if FT Signifier got on stream with Michael Burns and was like, huh, pussy tits. Would you not be mortified? Would you not be so fucking mortified? Like, what the fuck? But we let Hassan get away with it. Even though he's 34 talking to a 27-year-old. Why is a 34-year-old man asking a 27-year-old about her sex life or a cum rag or anything else? I would be so disappointed. I would be so disgusted if I heard FD talk about women that way or if I heard Michael Burns talk about women that way. And the fact that Hassan does it and people don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely not, dude. Not in the big 2026. Not in the big 2026. You know? In the big 2026, everyone who goes, Brittany, that rape comment from Hassan you bring up is old. Okay, what about yesterday? Exactly, you're right. It was old. What about yesterday? You know? That's my point. I agree. That clip is from an older time, but he hasn't changed. He's still making the same jokes. Those are the same jokes. It's the same jokes. You know, it's the same jokes. Chad said, did he ever apologize? I never saw it. But if he did, I don't know. I didn't see it. You know? So yeah, you know, if Hassan changes, great. But if he doesn't, then it is what it is. You know? Okay, I'm going to go now for real. Bye. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. Like the stream before you leave. Bye.